Hello, welcome to the Type 1 Radio Lounge. Yeah, I think I've forgotten to put the music up there. But we're just straight into it.
Want to do it a cappella or something? No?
Well, I think we should do a little quick tribute to the late.
So that was Donna Summer and what was the song?
It's called Hot Stuff.
Hot
Did you
Stuff.
not get that?
Did you not get that?
It was the clue
Clues in the
there.
lyrics. Yeah. See, Donna Summer claimed to have died as a result of 9/11. Has anybody heard this?
I saw a
She said
headline
that
this
she
week.
got dustified and the dust caused cancer. Ooh, Donna.
It said there was a headline in one of the big newspapers in this country called The Sun. Big, but not necessarily quality-wise.
No.
But it said that, yeah, she died as a result of the dust, or from the towers being turned to dust.
Well, she lived
Which is
quite close, apparently,
I thought.
to the event, and
But
she
they
apparently
didn't
she
even use
stayed.
that word.
She stayed in her house for 3 weeks. She didn't leave,
Yeah.
and she reckoned that the dust had collected in her air conditioning.
That's kind of interesting. I don't know if you guys have caught the story yet, but on CNN a little while ago on the news ticker, I saw this thing that said one of the wives from, the pilot only had one wife, but one of the pilots, the wife recently, I guess, died. You know, I mean, and there were only so many pilots involved in 9/11, and one of the, the wives, I guess, just recently was found dead in her home of natural causes. I don't know. I haven't really got to look into it all that much, but I hadn't heard the Diana Summers.
Is that natural causes with bunny rabbit ears?
Quite possibly.
So, welcome again to the Type 1 Radio Lounge. We're here in a very hot Brighton, which is a good thing. And we are joined, we're happy to welcome into the lounge Mike Emery. Hello, Mike.
Yeah, howdy, Steve. Thanks.
And it's very nice to have you here with us. There's quite a few people that we know that are listening. Excellent. We have some. And joining us on the line here, we have Reset. Hello, Reset.
Hello.
And Free Energy Jay. Hello, Jay.
Hello, everyone.
Excellent. So Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself and the things that you do.
Well, I was born and raised on a ranch in Montana. I used to ride the range from sunup to sundown and rodeo on weekends. And I learned freedom there. And basically, everything that I do is headed towards freedom, spiritual and physical freedom. And that's enlightenment, not only for myself, but hopefully, we have the technology now whereby we can do it for virtually every man, woman, and child and the planet, all at once. All this technology exists, has been around for donkey's years, and my job seems to be taking this technology and explaining how it works in such a way that you can understand it, that a normal person can understand it, and how it dovetails with all these other technologies and religious precepts and the facts, It's just a matter of, I graduated in engineering, so it's just, all it is taking spirituality and physics and engineering them together. That's basically what I've done.
Sounds like a big task there, my friend.
I'm done with it. Now we have to implement it.
Sorry about the crunching.
The noise in the background.
Yeah, that's the ice cooler.
That's the Type 1
Yeah.
drinks cabinet.
yeah.
Oh, I did a great essay today on Loesch, and LOOSH is separation energy. It's fear and all the attributes of fear, like greed and hunger and so on and so forth, that it separates us from God and one another. And this planet has a root Loesch production facility that is the carbon oxygen antagonism. The oxygen destroys carbon, basically, and so they destroy one another. And that process of destruction creates Loesch, which is separation energy. It's totally amazing. So I mean, it's going to take a major project to focus on this so that people become enlightened, because Loesch stops you from being enlightened. It separates you from God.
Right, excellent. So we met, me and Fajik met the lovely Mike recently at the Eternal Knowledge Festival. How did you like that festival?
That was great. Oh, there was some awesome stuff there. I had a wonderful time. You asking? Well, there's two main things, the three main things. Talking to Harry Oldfield, and he, is a scientist, and he knows about the blink rate of matter. What we consider matter. Matter doesn't really matter, but we'll get into that later maybe. But what we consider to be matter is only here 1/2 the time. It blinks in and blinks out. Okay, so Harry knew about that. But the other thing that Harry, as a result of these years and years of these frequencies that he deals with, that he takes pictures of, asked me one acid question, and that was, where do the toroids come from that make the frequencies? And I explained it to him. The toroids occur automatically due to the rule in the ethers, and it's in my writings if you're interested in the more detail of it. But what is mind-boggling about that whole process is that because of the blink rate, when things blink out, the matter completely ceases to exist. In order for them, and all that's left is the image that traverses the gap in the ethers to the next etheric cell, 2D honeycomb, infinite realm. And once it gets that infinite realm, there's anus there, and those anus are the two, what we consider to be operative aspects of God, which is Christ and God the Father, but more accurate in Hinduism, Vishnu and Shiva, in the Anu, A-N-U, first name of God, the Babylonian text, Sumerian text, and Vedas. I'm sorry if I'm going too fast, but the Anu does contain both Vishnu and Shiva, which in Christianity would be Christ and God the Father. And Vishnu is the center part of the Anu, or the divine spin at the center, and the Shiva is the destruction part, or centrifugal spin, on the outer part of the Anu. And the Anu has these two spins to it. And the Anu is everything. It says that Anu is God. It is everything. It's the origin of life. It's what memories are made out of. And so the Anu, in the DNA part of it, has information. And so because the DNA collects information, it also assimilates information, which means it has awareness and it can organize the information. Which means that everything that you see and everything that you don't see is conscious, aware, alive, and is able to organize information. We're traveling in a sea of it. And so one of the things that came out at the other things that came out at the Eternal Knowledge Festival was Mr. Catchpole was talking about the Hindu concept of the Vastu, and which is the Vastu is the sea of energy that has information in it, and God, Brahma. Well, Brahma is the overall God. All of that is within Brahma, obviously, or the Holy Ghost,
And this is Raymond Catchpole, isn't it?
Yeah, correct.
He did the talk on the Friday night. Very interesting.
And then the other guy was Andrew Gow talking about all of these.
Andrew Goff, yeah. He was just on the our station this Thursday with one of our hosts, Retta, talking about astral projection and René Le Chateau, and he's a friend of the lounge.
Very interesting man too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. And he was talking about the beehive, cult.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That did I hear him correctly? He said 2 million years that this has been around?
Yeah.
That's mind-boggling. No, but obviously the honeycomb is the ether, and the bee's hive is an anode, and they're built exactly like that. And and it's like honey is eternal. Why is that? Well, because it's not 3D, it's 2D. You think somebody would toggle, but they don't. It's like,
Honey is 2D. I didn't know
I
that.
read that in your blog today, or your...
So describe to us how, for the layperson in the lounge,
That's me.
what you mean by like honey is 2D. What characterises it as 2D rather than 3D or some other D?
Yeah, right. Yeah. 2D. 2D is the root of everything, basically. Obviously, we didn't jump right into 3D. When everything started forming up, it didn't form up as 3D to begin with.
Jay, turn your radio.
Yeah. Can people mute the mics when they're not speaking, please?
Oh, I see. Carry
on, Mike. Carry
on. And so anyway, the 2D nature of a bee's honeycomb is real simple. The honeycomb, as far as the ether is concerned, is infinite in two directions. Okay, it's like the bee's honeycomb, and the bee's honeycomb has a thickness, but compared to the other two distances, it's negligible or non-existent for all practical purposes. And if that is your environment, that's where you live, is in that 2D realm, then you're not exactly in our 3D realm. It's like a superconductor. It levitates. And the reason it levitates is because it comes in harmony with the ether, which is 2D. And it's not affected by gravity, which is a 3D energy. The minute your body is set up to become a superconductor. The minute your body, it's hardwired to become a superconductor. And I can explain that in detail if you're interested. But the minute you achieve enlightenment and flowing enough energy in your body, you automatically levitate. You don't even have to think about it. Not only levitate, but you can also teleport. Ultimately, that's what we should be able to do, isn't it?
And that's why we should all be light-hearted.
Can we only do that if we're in 2D then?
You basically, the guys, like the transcendental meditators that levitate and all the other people that levitate, it has to be done in 2D. Anti-gravity.
So do they go flat?
A long time before gravity. And anti-gravity is not really anti-gravity, it's just being in harmony with the ethers.
Yeah, I understand that. You sort of you take yourself out of gravity. You're another orb.
Well, if you take yourself out of 3D, then surely you're
flat.
Yeah. Becoming not part of the 3D world, you're becoming part of the 2D world.
Like a surface.
Well, you're part of the 2D world anyway. We walk around in the Vastu, the ocean of infinite time, of no time, and all, or all time is here now. In other words, past, present, future are here now. Well, that's what we walk around in all the time. Where we're at, where we manifest, as humans in this reality, is a real tiny little slice of reality. But it's very interesting to everybody else, all of the spiritual folks. That it's amazing the number of entities that look after us, simply because they think we're entertaining. I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Any questions from Jay and Reset?
I'm sure Jay's got.
I'm sure. Yeah, definitely. Jay does a 5D show on our network. So
Well, also any sort of liquids can be considered a 2D object as well because they don't have form. If you let gravity take a hold of them, they will squash out for the most part until they hit resonance, then they'll bead.
Well, yeah,
Or
the microclusters. You get into microclusters, there are metals and all that stuff too. But the neat thing about water is what Schauberger showed us is that it will condense even further than what you think. Well, you think of water being incompressible, but it is possible to have fluids, water and air, and any kind of working fluid, to be not 3D, to have it become 2D. And Victor Schauberger did that. In that, he made water go through a pipe with what they called negative friction. In other words, it speeded up as it went through the pipe. It didn't. There was no heating up, no nothing. It kept going faster, and that's how he made a flying saucer for the Fuhrer, was with this device that just had water running in it, and it spun on its own automatically.
Oh, wow!
And it's in Schauberger's books, and
those, Mike? Give them out.
Schauberger.
Yeah.
Victor Schauberger, Living Waters by Olaf. The best book is Living Water by Olaf Alexanderson.
Right.
Living Water.
Living water.
Yeah. Olaf Alexanderson.
But
So what's all this about Mercury then being the essence of anti-gravity? Is that a debunking story, do you think? It's really just water?
No, Mercury, all of the precious elements, including mercury, exist in the Ormus state, that people talk about, high spin state or white powder gold.
Monatomic gold.
Monatomic gold.
Yeah, monatomic gold. I know and admits about that. Because we've got a gold mine in the States that's full of it.
Yeah.
Gold mine used to be owned by Howard Hughes and Shell Oil, and now us.
Is that in Arizona?
No, it's not there. It's Nevada. But Arizona has the same thing. I know David Hudson. I've met with David Hudson. And everything that David Hudson has to say is correct, but he misses a couple of very important aspects of the nature of reality. For example, when things blink in and blink out, as you come in harmony with 2D, very obviously, the electric and magnetic components are no longer at right angles. Because in order to have 3D, you do have to have polarity, which requires that the electric and magnetic components be at right angles to one another. Right. Full stop. Okay? So if you are in anti-gravity or anything like that, then the electric and magnetic components cannot be at right angles. They are, in fact, parallel to one another and separated, and in between is infinite potential, which is what you have in any gap, which leads me to a misnomer I like to talk about, is 0-point energy is a misnomer. And when it's so important, it's part of building a picture in people's head. If you're talking about 0-point energy, everybody gets the idea of this point, don't you? Where all this emanates from, okay? Wrong. Wrong.
So you don't
you don't subscribe to 0-point energy then?
On Nassim Harriman's Schwarzschild proton,
Event horizon.
the energy coming out of the singularity.
Yeah.
Yeah, of the torus.
Nothing goes to zero, guys. Nothing goes to zero.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, right. Okay.
The sine wave doesn't even actually cross the x-axis; it skips.
Doesn't it? I thought it crosses over down in loops.
It appears to on the oscilloscope, yes, but in actuality, no. It skips. It blinks out before it gets to the x-axis and blinks back in below.
Wow.
Now, this blink rate's always there, and so what's in between is a gap. In the gap, you have the electric and magnetic components parallel to one another, and they are separated by a gap. And that is basically God's mind. And the proof of that is the Ciba-Geigy effect. Okay, you know about the Ciba-Geigy effect?
No.
No, but is it like Dr. Emmett's parallel universe thing? Well, there's two things coexisting, though.
Well, yes, they're more than two. Considerably more than two. Because in the gap, you basically have an infinite number of infinite realms that are in that gap. It is all potential. That's what's in there. Everything basically. It's like what you have within the entirety of the universe. Answer: two answers, nothing and everything. So what do you have within any piece of space? Same two answers, nothing and everything. The Sai Baba talks about that a lot.
Yeah, I've heard that there's another theory about the sheet dimensions in the universe.
Yeah.
The string theory kind of thing.
Well,
Go on, Mike.
String theory, physics is supposed to be the observation of the physical universe and scientific explanation thereof. Now there are strings, but those guys got a little bit carried away.
Yeah.
22 dimensions is what they got up to. Excuse me, I'm going, excuse me, there's only 2 and then 3, and then maybe 4 if you count time in this dimension, but that's it, dudes. There ain't no more straight lines along which you can measure, which is the definition of a dimension. And people talk about the fifth dimensions. Excuse me, that is very limiting, number one. Number two, they also talk about it being the fifth density, also very limiting. What it is a leap into another octave, size-wise, of the etheric cells that our bodies, our auras, fly around in. Basically, our aura is a spaceship via which we fly through the ethers, quite literally. And so when you achieve this next octave, the fifth dimension or fifth density or whatever it is, it's really a leap, a quantum leap that occurs via your body, your soul self, acquiring more more energy. Okay, photons are anus, and they're perfectly pure anus. The more you draw them in, pretty soon your anu, your aura, fills up with light, and bang, you gotta go up a step. Okay, and which is, by the way, Planck's original observation of how a black box heats is in quantums of heat. It leaps. It doesn't go smoothly. Okay, which started the entire quantum theory stuff. It all started with that fact. Okay, that everything heats in quantums and leaps, quantum leaps. Okay, well, guess what? You do too.
Hey!
I'm quantum heating right now. It's bloody hot here.
Yeah. Should we open that door?
Could open the door, yeah. Sorry, Mike, that's brilliant. Can you continue along that?
Yeah.
Right.
Can I just say that from what you were saying before about the blinks, that how do you think that this links in with the more intuitive side of our brain and our more intuitive way of thinking, that we're actually linking into these bits that we can't actually see, we're not perceiving in our everyday lives?
Yes, correct.
But with our perceptive brain, we are linked in with the gaps, and we can get inspiration or maybe perspiration. I don't know, or maybe influential or detrimental effects from linking in with these gaps.
No, there's no detrimental effects. I guess there can be. We can get into talking about heaven and hell as a result of that. But the root nature of the ethers is love. Okay, the actual lines of the ether and the anu are made out of love. And there's a very simple reason for that. But except for right here, where the Loesch overlays it, and because Loesch, like everything else in the universe, tends to want to collect into areas. You can have giant areas of Loesch, that would be the equivalent of a hell. If somebody puts that image on it, it would do that. It would become a hell.
Can you just backtrack on the Loesch? but pardon me, explain.
Just give us a little...
Just a sort of rundown on Loesch.
Yeah, 'cause you did before, but I think you really need to go slow with those guys.
Okay. Yeah, and I want to finish answering her question about inspiration. Basically, is what she was asking. You know, that comes to artists and folks, and it does come out of the gaps. Okay, so back to Loesch. Loesch is a term that was given to Robert Monroe. I love Robert Monroe's work because everything he did is just an exploration, you know, and he writes down the facts. It's not like a supposition or an interpretation of what he saw. It's actually what he saw, you know, and experienced and felt and so on and so forth. So what Robert Monroe found is that here, where we're at, that there is a negative energy that he termed being Loesch, and that Loesch is produced by all of us. It's even produced by the squirrels and the plants and everything that's got oxygen and carbon in it automatically produces Loesch, you know. And Loesch is separation energy, which separates us as entities from each other and from God. And so it's almost like God designed this entire planet with this Loesch built in, which it is because of the carbon-oxygen antagonism, in order for her to be able to create this new race of beings, which is what we are, humans. You know, we're different than any other beings in the entire universe. You know, and that's why everybody likes us. You know, you guys are crazy, a little bit stupid, but it's fun to watch. You know,
does that have any relation to the archons?
Excuse me?
Does that have any relation to the archons and the us being organic beings rather than mechanical? Is it?
Oh yeah, well it depends on I'd say the frequency that occurs at this area of the galaxy creates the carbon oxygen life forms. You go closer in, and you got silicone life forms. Everything lives, you know. Rocks live. Yeah. You know, you find life in everything, you know, and so you know there's higher orders of other life forms, all kinds of them that are what we consider to be alien beings, but you know they're just natural life forms that exist throughout this galaxy and this universe. You know, but it depends on the octave, you know, of the energy emanating from the center of that galaxy as to what forms up in that particular band of energy. I mean, where we're at is carbon and oxygen, and water, of course. But now back to Loesch. So Loesch is fear, greed, arrogance, jealousy, hunger, you know, all of these kinds of negative feelings, and the highest quality Loesch is loneliness, which is the true separation. Okay, how can you be lonely from God? You know, you can't get away from Him. He's with you all the time. You know, it's like, you know, I don't want to. Sometimes I can use cowboy terms, and I don't need to be doing that.
It's all right. We're all a bit country here.
Yeah.
Right.
We have lots of American listeners, so I'm sure they all hear where you're coming from.
We'll get you some Tammy Burnett for later, yeah?
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, so Loesch, you know, so that's the final explanation of Loesch. So can I go back to her thing about...
So is it just to wrap up, is it a negative energy then you're talking about? Loesch
it's not a negative. It's part of Shiva. It's part of the destruction phase. You know,
it's dark as opposed to light. What I'm getting at. It's a different.
Yeah, right. Well, it's destruction versus preservation, or you know, Vishnu is the preserver form. Shiva is destroyer form. So the Loesch is the destroyer side of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
God, G-O-D, or generation, organization, destruction.
Yeah.
Which happens every microsecond as we blink in and blink out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so as we blink out, we go into these gaps that has infinite potential, has infinite, when you're in the gap, you're connected with the entirety of this universe, as well as all of the 13 universes that are around in this mandala of this octave, and then there's another octave up with another 13 universes, and you connect all that, it's like, and then not only those physical universes, but also all of the conceptual universes that go along with them. It's all in that gap. It's mind-boggling. It's off the scale, so if you need any inspiration, you just get yourself in the gap, and there's the musicians use drugs to do that, okay? And it works very, very well, doesn't it?
Yep.
And
Oh yeah.
and however it is you can shut your mind off is how you're able to access God, basically. This is something I wrote, just reading it myself today. I went, oh, that's neat. The brain is the antithesis of coming in harmony with God, because we collect so much shit. And all of those labels are basically losh, because it is not infinite. It's the antithesis of God.
I'd just like to say you don't have to take drugs to reach that point, though, because like you say, the quietening of the brain, this is...
It's just an example.
Yeah. I know.
Is it?
He's not advocating it, but it works for him.
I just feel like I should speak up for Swami, who's in the chat room but not here, and just say that meditation is also a way that we can quieten the mind and stop the chattering monkey in the box.
Om Namah Shivaya. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Remain in the gap. Mind the gap.
Get into the gap.
Anyone speaks to English?
Or get in the group.
And excuse me very much, the gap is not a 0 point. No. It's the wrong idea. And when you start painting the wrong picture in people's heads, they don't know where to go. Part of this action, this ether and anus and all that stuff, is that it has a structure to it, okay? And it is a roadmap. And if you don't follow the roadmap, you ain't going to get there, dude. So do not tell me that it's a 0 point, because that's bullshit.
It's a full point.
No,
full stop.
It's a gap. Gap is good.
So,
yeah,
with the idea of the blink, is the idea of the enlightenment from that to recognize the blink is happening, or to unify the blink into like a not a wink. Or a stare. Yeah, just to so basically you've got yin and yang. You've got like positive and negative, not necessarily not the bad and good, positive and negative, charges, and to unify those. Is that the goal in this? Or is it just to recognise that there's this blink going on?
Well, the blink helps a great deal with freedom, and realizing, what we have access to, which is, for our mind, it's off the scale. It's mind-boggling, and the way that you experience those infinite realms is via. It's kind of like the same way that an amoeba accumulates information. That you basically it's assimilate it. It becomes part of you. And it's not like something that you cognize. It's just something that happens. Nothing you can do about it. When you get into the gap, that's what happens. And so your question about essentially the way that you phrase the question, the way that I see it, is the difference between 3D and 2D. And so. We're stuck in 3D because we're focused in 3D. You wake up in the morning, you expect to be in your bed. Little do you know that during those dreams, you went amazing number of places, which is another thing that you can do with like the Monroe Institute. The binaural beat that they use, they hook your head up to the headphones, and it creates you have like 200 hertz in one ear and 210 hertz in the other ear. The brain entrains at a difference, 10 hertz. But they take it down to probably like 6 or one of the meditative states, and then you automatically you can then all you have to do is will yourself to roll out, will your spiritual body to roll out of your physical, disconnect from it, and they have a number of different techniques for doing that, and so you can get out of the body. Well, at nighttime when you dream, you do the same thing. Every time you dream. And every time you dream or just fall asleep, there's this little shudder, okay? And that's like the dying shudder when you die. Same thing. Same thing. Going into a dream, dudes. Same thing. It's all the same.
That's interesting, that, because in the Tibetan Book of the Living and the Dying, Sogyal Rinpoche describes the great luminosity exactly like that as... now, as going into the dream, you can get used to, people that are meditating to become enlightened. They meditate to see that ground luminosity whilst they go into sleep, in order to recognize it when they die.
Okay, all right. So now here's the deal when you're in the dream state. Okay, you know where you can go in the dream state?
Anywhere you like.
You should listen.
Right. Well, anywhere that you can visualize, and you'll get there automatic.
So isn't that teleportation then?
Teleportation entirely possible, and guys like Sai Baba have done it innumerable times. And Babaji and Sai Baba Shirdi and Jesus and all these people have done it. And we can do it. And apparently, there's been a few thousand enlightened beings created in Tibetan monasteries and Chinese monasteries. But, so, the trick to teleportation is this. When you do dreams and astral projection, you are there with your point of view, okay, and your hearing, right? And then you bring your feeling along, okay? And then you bring your smell along. Okay, and when the taste comes, when you can taste things, you will be able to teleport. You can the next, the minute you can taste something, your body might show up there whether you want it to or not. It's like it's like once you come in harmony with the ethers, things happen very, very, very quickly.
So do you think that's what's happened to this reality? We've been able to taste it. And that's what makes us hold on to this reality.
Well, yeah, maybe so. What holds on, the karma is what keeps us here, really. Everybody and everything you see is because of karma, the reason it's here. And that karma is basically anus. And every sequence of events, memory is an anu. And that information is stored in the DNA portion of the anu. And that information can be changed. The anu cannot be destroyed because it's God and it's eternal. Okay? But the information in between is malleable. Whatever can be done with it. Which means you can change your shape. And, this guy, excuse me, I love this one. The guy Young, Thomas Young, 1880-something, he did the double slit experiment.
Okay? The entanglement.
No, double slit experiment, 1880. This is a long time ago, a long time before they knew about entanglement, or they conceived of entanglement. But where light will act as a particle for one slit, and then when you have two slits, it acts as a waveform.
Yeah.
Okay.
The holographic universe, isn't it, as explained in that?
Well, holographic, the holograph is pretty more amazing than what you guys think. I got that written up too. But anyway, let's go back to the double slit experiment. This is very important. This is foundational, okay? Now, when the light leaves the light source in Thomas Young's experiment, if it's going to one slit, it acts like a particle. If it's going to two slits, it acts like a wave, okay? Which means that the minute it leaves the light source, it leaves either as a particle or as a wave. So therefore, simple question, how does it know to do that? How is it that light has sufficient consciousness to change its shape?
Because it is conscious.
Yeah, well, that's because it does have consciousness and it knows how to change its shape, which means that you know how to change your shape also.
So we're all shapeshifters.
We all have the ability. Yes, it's innate. It's built in us.
Yay! We're catching up with you, Queenie.
That's fascinating, Mike. Continue, please.
The only
Okay,
thing,
so
the only
so
thing
the
on that is our belief systems.
well, belief systems are just anus, with information in it. And some of them you hold on to more tightly than others. When you die and your life flashes before your eyes, that's when you get to choose your new set of karma for the next life. Because you will get to come back. It's part of the rule. If you grab onto any of that, you're going to be back. If you do the Hindu what do they call it? Where they constantly repeat the name of the Lord. It's called Namasmaran. Yeah, and Mahatma Gandhi was doing it. When he died. When the guy shot him, he was going, oh, Rama, Rama, Rama. And so the reason they say that is that if you're constantly repeating the name of the Lord, then with every breath, then when your last breath comes, where are you going to go? Answer, Lord. Which means that you turn loose of all of your whatever happened this life, and you don't create any more karma, God willing. Okay, so back to the holograph. All right, this is really interesting. So now a holograph is a hologram is a three-dimensional light object. Okay, the three-dimensional light object is created via a laser shining through a diffusion pattern that causes the organized rays of the lasers to go out and intersect in space in such a way that it creates a three-dimensional light object. Okay? That's classic hologram. Okay? All right. Now, what's interesting about the diffusion pattern is that you can cut it into 100 pieces, and as long as you can get the laser to it, it will create the three-dimensional light object, every one of them. So you have the same information throughout the diffusion pattern, even though it's got smudges and swirls on it, doesn't matter. The same information's everywhere. Okay? And so, it's simple question, how did it get there? All right, well then, that means you have to go back to how is the diffusion pattern made? The way the diffusion pattern is made is you have one laser, you split it, and one part of the laser illuminates the object. Say it's a person, or Princess Leela, in the what's her name? Was Leela? Star Wars? Anyway. Leia. Okay. Yeah. Now, all right. So you have one laser that illuminates her, and then you have the other split off the beam. Is the reference laser that is hitting the transparency that is to become the diffusion pattern, and then the rays that bounce off of the subject come and intersect with the rays of the reference laser, and where they intersect, it creates smudges on the diffusion pattern. Okay. Okay. So you have to separate your mind here a little bit, because the rays of the laser are what I would call a 3D energy. It's a frequency and not a scalar. It's a frequency. Okay, but in order to have a laser, the light rays have to run parallel to one another, which means you have to have a gap in between. Otherwise, they're not going to do that. They're not going to run parallel to one another. All right, and they would interfere. So you have to have a gap. All right. So what is happening is the laser that is illuminating the object is bringing information from the gaps in the object, i.e. when the object blinks out, it is only an image in the gaps in the ethers, and it's that information that the laser is picking up because it can carry it in the gaps between the organized rays and intersecting with the reference laser and creating the diffusion pattern. And so that's part of the logic. The logic goes on further in that the two 3D energies of the laser, where they intersect on the diffusion pattern, as they make the diffusion pattern, creates a smudge. Right? Well, when you're shining the laser back back through there to create the hologram, the light rays don't go through the smudges. It goes through the gaps. So what's the light rays doing? They're taking the information in the gaps, not from the smudges.
Cool.
Therefore, this is not difficult. The hologram is a picture, basically, of God's image or God's idea of Princess Leia, that is held in the in the gaps in the blink rate, where they blink out. There is no other explanation for that. It really works.
Well, it was like special effects on that film.
Yeah.
Well, the idea, yes.
So therefore, then you run that forward to our aura, okay, which is a mind-boggling number of anus that are the memories from this life, memories of past lives, the beliefs, opinions, all of that stuff, okay, and the light that is shining through our aura from the cosmos is what makes us, and our aura is a diffusion pattern that makes us.
Excellent. Well, we'll just take a little break there. We're coming up to the hour here. We'll just have a little, what we like to call a smoke break on the lounge. If anybody wants to call in and speak, or has any questions, or just wants to have a chat with Mike, the number is 760-283-0818. Reset was that Reset just saying something there?
No, I think it was.
Mom! Pot roast!
That wasn't me.
Okay, let's go for a bit of music here. This one, is that going to be okay?
That's one of Steve Face's heavy rock ones.
Is that alright? Is everyone okay with that? It's 4 minutes, so it means we've got 4 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
We'll be back after this with more from Mike.
Grandma's in this too. That's why she's offering me ramen noodles. Fuck you, Grandma! I knew that he was following me around, going to diners, giving me high cholesterol, so I would die an early death.
Thank you, John Pistachio.
Thank you, John Pistachio. That was Future Shock. Another one of the Friendship Agenda musicians. Vitex has moved it, so it was called, was it No Answers? No, it was called Reality Check.
So there you go.
So welcome.
And that's what we're doing now.
Yes, a bit of a reality check there for us too. Hi, Mater Rex, who's listening on the chat. Just come aboard. Nice to hear you, see you.
Chat with you.
Chat with you and all
that. Okay.
We're with Mike tonight, who's been
Mike Emery,
absolutely fascinating so far.
Who we met at the Eternal Knowledge Festival, myself and Nick, a few weeks ago, and Mike was just a really interesting guy to talk to, so we thought we'd bring him on the show and let him have a bit of time to chat with all our friends on here as well, seeing as they weren't able to be at the festival as well. Okay, Mike, so where were we with the chat there? Oh, we're getting an echo.
Hello, Mike?
Are we okay there? Mike, you there?
Yeah.
Excellent. So, what else you got for us, mate?
Have you made any energy devices at all?
Oh yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. What you've made, how you made it, how you tested them.
Oh, I played and met with the weird physicists at Boeing. They had a private lab in Seattle there, and I had been involved in funding free energy devices and spent quite a bit of money, almost $1 million out of my pocket doing that.
Wow.
And so I met some amazing guys, one of which was John Bedini. And Bedini worked with Thomas Bearden, the Army's most eminent physicist for a while. Bearden's kind of gone off the deep end lately, but I learned from Bearden about scalar waves. You know what a scalar wave is? A figure eight wave.
We're aware of them, yeah.
Yeah, a scalar wave is a figure eight wave, and they don't register on an oscilloscope. They just show as a linear deformation on the oscilloscope.
Okay.
And so they say they cancel each other out. In the West, they say they cancel each other out. And if you use Maxwell's equations, they do, in fact, cancel one another out. Except that the Maxwell's equations that are used in the West have the effect of gravity stripped off of the electromagnetic interface, and whereas the Russians kept the effect of gravity that is part of Maxwell's equations, and therefore the two waves are different, okay? And because they're different, they have to be there, and they are in fact there. And they go infinite, and they're not measurable on an oscilloscope because they go in harmony with the ether. They go infinite, Right. Yeah. But they are there. Okay, so that's what I learned from Bearden was about scalar waves primarily. And so I imparted that knowledge to the guys in Seattle. And they say, okay, well, let's do some things with it. Okay, so there's one guy there named Frank. I wish I could remember Frank's last name, but he was referred to as Merlin. He made things. So I went over to his place a couple of times, and the very first thing we did was to make a free energy device, which was two Tesla coils stuck together opposite one another so that when you loaded them, it created a crude scalar. To make a proper, what would be a witness well in a scalar or a radionic device, you have to do the windings one right on top, one opposite the other, and on top of one another. Whereas these two Tesla coils, the toroids, are just glued together. But anyway, so you load them exactly the same, creates a scalar, and it did in fact create a scalar. And then we run that input. The input obviously has to be pulsed, so we have a switch, okay? And then the switch, you put it right in front of the center of the toroid, and the switch starts switching on its own, and the electricity starts flowing on its own, and the thing makes 1 watt just sitting there, and you turn it on, and it was well over unity. We have no idea what it was, And you're talking about very, very simple, stuff, the components, the concept, everything, very, very simple. That's why, they'll never figure it out because it's too simple. You can't do that. Scalar waves don't exist. Yeah, right. Okay, never mind. The other thing we did, and I didn't help make this, they actually went ahead and wound a proper scalar transmitter, which would be like I described, where you crank one way with one wire and the opposite way with the other wire, and put about 100 windings both ways. You don't have to put that much. You can do it with 3, really. But you really want to make a good one, so that's what they did. And it was reasonably good size, maybe about 2 inches across. And then they pulsed it at a rate that I don't remember what the rate is, but it's it's in the something around 60 hertz, 60 cycles per second. And because that was immediately available in it, it comes out the wall in the States, 60 cycle, and then they put a bug in front of it, and the bug dematerialized. So then they got this hermetically sealed glass tube with rubber stoppers at both ends, big, like a very hygienic hospital type thing, and we did it again. We put any kind of carbonation material in the cylinder, and you turn the scalar device on, and there would be this piezoelectric green flash, which is that piezoelectric green is the color of the lines of the ether. It's the color of love. It's the color of your heart chakra. Okay, and everybody sees it that can go, that is able to meditate back to seeing the ethers. That's what you see, that piezoelectric green. And the same thing, the anu, that's the light, the color of love. And so, this thing's going back to God. It's blinking out of this reality, so you get a piezoelectric green flash. And when I say blinking out of this reality, they would take the tube down to Boeing with the ICP and atomic absorption spectroscopy units, and they are able to analyze down to parts per billion, and there is no carbon whatsoever inside of that thing. And we did it a few times, and it worked so well. I did it myself once, flip the switch, and I tried it a few times actually. And I try to flow the switch as fast as you can, like a kid would, flick on and off, and there'd be this piezoelectric green flash and it'd disappear. So we stopped playing with that because our carbon units, and we decided that we didn't want to disappear.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Don't mess with that kind of energy.
Also, we didn't want to develop that any further because it is an absolutely amazing weapon. It is the disruptor that the Romulans use. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And
that goes in circle pulses, yeah?
Yeah, well, the reason I don't, it could be, just a scalar wave, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And that, what happens is that via an EMP, which in 2D is much more powerful than 3D, okay, it basically cancels out the ether that supports carbon, okay? There's different sizes of ethers, everything progresses in size according to the Fibonacci series. Everything's fractal from the quantum to the cosmos. And that's the roadmap of the universe, the entire universe. Even the disincarnate universe still has a structure to it. And so that's why it's important to know about the structure and that there is no 0 point. It's all like dice in the gap. There's no 0 point. Anyway, so what happened was that scalar device that we built canceled the ether, which supported the anu that makes carbon. Okay, and so that carbon just disappeared from this realm. Its anu converted to something else, but its energy basically disappeared. As far as we're concerned, the matter disappeared. Which leads me to alchemical transmutation of elements. You want to know about that? It's basically the same thing, which also leads to shape-shifting, all right?
Yeah.
All right. Alchemical transmutation of elements goes on all the time in your body, in plants, and just about everything all things that live have alchemical transmutation of elements going on continuously. But the simplest to elucidate this is a crop of corn. A crop of corn will have 10 times more magnesium than what is leached out the soil. Okay, excuse me. Simple question, where does it come from, please? Okay. And so the answer is what's Kerberan's alchemical transmutation of elements, because a Frenchman named Kerberan pretty much nailed it, but he didn't really explain how it works exactly. And I'm right now going to explain to you how it works, because it's really quite simple. And it fits with the carbon disappearing operation and shape-shifting we were talking about earlier. The plant has to have magnesium in order to make chlorophyll, obviously. The difference between chlorophyll and hemoglobin is just one atom of magnesium in the chlorophyll and one atom of iron in the hemoglobin. And so, so how does it go about making, quite literally, magnesium? Okay, well, first of all, what is magnesium? Magnesium, like all other atoms and everything that's sovereign, has an anu around it, makes it. Okay? And so that anu, in the very center of the anu, is the information for magnesium. And the plant knows what that is. And so along comes an atom of iron, and it says, well, excuse me, iron, you're going to be magnesium now, thank you very much. And so it changes the information in the anu of the iron, and it becomes magnesium like that. instantaneously. As it blinks, very instantly. As it blinks out, goes in there, new information, blinks back in. One blink is iron, next blink magnesium. Done, finished. Thank you. Thank you kindly. All chemical transmutations happen very, very quickly.
Wow.
Microseconds. And it's like a chicken. You know, they lay eggs. Those eggs are covered with calcium. Okay. Where does the calcium come from, dear chicken? Where are you getting all this calcium from? Are you leaching this out of your bones? No. They pick up mica, free-range chickens pick up mica in the barnyard, which is silicone, and they convert the silicone to calcium in their body, as well as a number of other things. It's like humans. Humans have to have. I mean, if you are able to function at all, you have to have the inclusion of 72 micronutrients in order for the body's cell water to be structured in the shape of a tetrahedron. If there's one of those micronutrients missing, you're a sick puppy. You don't function very well at all. Okay? So where do those 72 micronutrients come? Well, you can get them out of organically grown produce, but not entirely. Okay? And the stuff that we normally eat, there's no chance. That all of those micronutrients are in a McDonald's hamburger. Okay? But nonetheless, you can use a McDonald's hamburger to make those micronutrients, or your body does. And you know how you know? You're walking and talking, dude. That's how you know. Right. Which led me to another subject we talked about earlier, about the human body becoming a superconductor. The reason that the human body can become a superconductor is because the water is structured in the shape of a tetrahedron by the 72 micronutrients, right? Okay. The calcium in the bones is structured in the shape of a tetrahedron. And the tetrahedrons is the root shape of quartz crystals. What you have in a fiber optics line is quartz crystals, and the light flows in the tetrahedrons of the quartz crystals, which is the exact same kind of what Royal Raymond Rice microscope worked on, that same principle also. The light stays coherent, as it's traversing the quartz crystals. It doesn't interfere with itself and break up. That's why fiber optics works, because the light doesn't disperse. The reason the light doesn't disperse is it stays coherent and confined by the quartz, right? Well, it's the same thing with us. Once the light is coherent and confined in your body, you will float. You will levitate. You can't stop it from happening. You're coming in harmony with the ethers, right? The other part of our body, the DNA, the DNA and the connective tissue are superconducting at normal temperatures, which scientists don't like to talk about because they always say you got to have super cooled in order to have a superconductor. Right? Excuse me, wrong. The DNA is superconducting as well as the connective tissue, all the cartilage, collagen, and tendons, ligaments, collagen, cartilage, all that stuff is superconducting connective tissue. What flows in a superconductor? Light. Same thing that flows in the quartz crystals. It's not much of a leap, guys, to get your body organized as a superconductor, and therefore you can levitate, walk on water, and heal by the touch.
Mm. And levitation can also occur when you're in the crossfire of converging fields within converging forces within a static field.
Yeah, as
the Dado ring levitated when Gianni Dado created a physical age regression device called the Dado ring. You can look it up. Put it in Google. DOTTO, Dado ring, Gianni Dado. That device did exactly what you're saying. And it had he just used a thermal null zone, of hot and cold, thermal null zone, which he reckoned was what kept the Hunza Canut so lively, is because of the cold up above and the glaciers and the warmth down in the valley, and they're always traversing back and forth. And so he used that premise and made the device, the Dado ring, which levitates. And the reason it levitates is because of the two fields creating a null zone.
Yeah, I've seen that on the YouTube actually, where it sort of hovers. But have you are you aware of George Piggott's?
Piggott. He patented an experiment just over, it was 101 years ago now, wasn't it? Or just coming up to 101 years ago.
Yeah.
He patented a device where he was able to
levitate
balls, like
cannonball.
Cannonball.
70 pound, which has been reproduced by John Hutchison.
Are you aware?
Oh, yeah. I know about Hutchison. I didn't know about Piggott stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Long time ago.
Yeah. Are you aware of Major John Alexander? Have you been involved in anything with him, or are you aware of any of the stuff he's been involved with?
No, who? Major John Alexander?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, don't know him.
Oh,
well, he's alleged scalar weapon military.
He was interested in John Hutchison's work. He's from the military, and when the military were interested in John Hutchison's work, he got involved with John Hutchison and was supposedly helping, hindering it seems.
Helping his research.
Helping John Hutchison set up experiments where the military could actually see what John Hutchison had actually been reproducing. Which John was happy to do, he was just like, yeah, okay, see what happens. But there was some sabotage going on there as well, I think.
Was that after he got his place raided?
Trashed.
After he'd done the military work, they came and raided his workshop and destroyed all his work, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, same thing what happened to T. Henry Moray and all those kinds of guys.
Yeah.
Reich.
Wilhelm Reich.
Yeah. Wilhelm Reich, that poor son of a bitch died in jail.
Mm-hmm.
They chased him out of 8 countries, and he ultimately died in jail in the U.S.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And burnt his books as well. It's quite sad.
Yeah, imagine that. But having his books burnt.
Yeah, he obviously was on the fucking money, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely.
Yeah. Wilhelm Reich stuff. There's an essay on my thing. Wilhelm Reich stuff and my stuff fit together perfectly.
Oh, what
exactly the same.
Have you heard of orgonite? I mean, that kind of came out of his research and work, I think. Are you familiar with that at all?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we very familiar with orgone energy. It's gap energy, isn't it? Yeah.
I was going to say that earlier, where you talked about, that's what I was going to get to when I was talking about the differences, because there's good orgone energy and there's bad orgone energy, isn't there?
Okay, the bad orgone energy. We want to talk about that?
Well,
okay.
Yeah. We know where it comes from, that's for sure.
You want to know where it comes from?
Well, we know where it comes from. They're supposed mobile phone masts and the like.
Well, the biggest producer of deadly orgone energy, DOR, is what he called it.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest producer of that is our moon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the reason is because the light that comes from the sun spins to the right and is life-giving, isn't it? Yeah, Vishnu, basically.
Wow.
Right. The light that comes from the moon is reflected light, and spins the opposite direction, and is anti-life.
Oh.
That's why you're a lunatic when you are affected by the moon.
That's the exact cause of lunatics. And I'm just looking
vampires right there.
Vampires and werewolves, yeah.
Well, I mean, even with the reflected light, a vampire not being able to see its reflection and only being able to go out in the moonlight, that's kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah. And their whole raison d'etre is to do with death, isn't it? They can only be so-called alive by killing other things.
So it's a reflection.
Yeah.
A reflection of life.
Yeah.
Wow. So tell us more about orgone energy, Mike, please.
Well, so orgone energy is just connecting up with the gap, isn't it?
Mm.
Okay. And but the gap has a structure, and for the most part, the structure of the gap is positive. You know, there can be if you get too much of a gap between the edge of the etheric cell and the flow of energy, that you can get back eddies in there that are anti-life. Okay, and that's what the Baron von Reichenbach found with what he called odd energy. Okay, it's amazing stuff. You know, Baron von Reichenbach was an extremely wealthy German industrialist, and
one that
his
funded, didn't he fund Schoenberg?
No,
Oh no.
he's before Schauberger. You know.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, go on, Mike.
He just got to looking into the lunatic thing that occurred as a result of the full moon, you know, and he started his investigations around 1840, and he spent 40 years researching it, and he quite well figured it out, but they wouldn't let him express it, write it down, write books, and so on and so forth. They did the same thing to him that they did to Wilhelm Reich. You know, the Baron von Reichenbach. Odd energy. You should be able to find it on the internet, I think. You know, but it's in a book called Lost Science by Jerry Vaslitos. You know, but there's a lot of amazing stuff in there. You know, Baron von Reichenbach. I did a whole essay. There's an essay on my website called Real Science, you know, that basically summarizes the whole book of Lost Science.
Mm-hmm. So at the Eternal Knowledge Festival, there's a guy that's got in from America called Dale Pond, talking about John Keely's work with Dinospheres. Do you know anything about that?
No, I don't.
No, okay.
Because
that, from what I can gather, he was saying that the intention that you give something, you know, sort of makes the object work. You know, he was, you know, the intention of love. We're getting his machines to work, and he was also saying that he was putting a talisman, like a symbol, on the wall, and they were working. But obviously, we're digressing because
yeah. Well, when you make organite, you have to program it with intention.
Intention, yeah.
Of what it's meant to do, whether it be healing or destroying deadly organ energy. But that's a fascinating concept you came up with the moon there, because obviously the sun gives life, and the moon doesn't take it away, but it's got those
connotations.
on earthly connotations, yeah. Halloween and all kinds of. Well, full moon, you definitely. So would you say
it was very accurately reported in Nexus, you know, and Duncan Rhodes got into it, you know, the guy that is the editor and owner of Nexus, about the Shanli project, you know, where they discovered some aliens, and they were communicating with these aliens in Canada.
Nope.
And the Chani, C-H-A-N-I, Chani, you know, the totally amazing, you know, connection with some alien beings. It went on for years and years and years. They got all kinds of great communication from them, and one of which was that the alien being, you know, told them that the moon is a major cause of the problems on this planet.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, that is odd.
Yeah.
That is a crazy one.
Yeah, well, Dave
It's like
the moon, isn't he?
It's like this, you know, with the moon. You know, the presence of light on animals' faces during the full moon causes ovulation. You know, okay. Right. Well, why is that? Because they think they're gonna fucking die. That's why.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's that famous thing in the South Pacific where the waters just turn white with sperm of fish, isn't it?
Oh, right, yeah.
That's on a full moon on the. Yeah, it's just a bizarre phenomenon. Because that's a good explanation of that. Brilliant.
Do you think it has an effect on the shape of the molecules of the water? Sorry, I'm Vic. So, hi, Mike. I'll just come in. But on the shape, on the shape of the molecules or the atomic structure of the water, do you think the moon, that orgone energy has an effect on that? Like you were saying before, when you were talking about scalar stuff.
Everything is amazingly connected.
Mm.
You know, we're connected to the other side of this universe. You know, very, very much so, more so than you think, via the gap. You know, and so those intentions and impressions, you know, spread around this universe. That's one of the reasons God wants to clean this place up.
Okay. So do we think that? So do you have any? What was that you were saying there, Vic, about the water?
I was just asking. I can't. What was the shape you were saying?
The tetrahedron.
The tetrahedron shape of the water. And I was just asking if the actual lunar energy has an effect on that shape. That differs from just pure solar energy.
Yes, it's anti-life.
Mm.
So
Low producing.
All right.
Right,
So
okay.
it creates fear in the...
fear in the water and change makes it go down. Which would explain tidal, because they say the tides are connected to the moon.
The tide's trying to come in.
It's trying to come in and it's the water and the moon's chasing it away going, no.
Yeah. It's running away from the moon.
Man, I always loved the moon and now it's like, what a letdown.
You can still love the moon. You can still love the moon, Steve.
It needs our.
Yeah. Well, it just means
It's under trauma mind control, isn't it, the moon?
Or maybe it's trauma mind controlling us.
Yeah. Both.
Yeah.
the dark side of the moon.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe the dark side of the moon's actually quite nice.
Quite nice, yeah.
Yeah.
What
do you reckon, Mike?
The moon's always associated with feminine energy, isn't it?
Diana.
And in alchemy, part of the process is to unite the solar and the lunar together. So you're using, to balance out.
Mm.
So there's that, it's not necessarily bad. It's just how, again, with intention.
And I saw a rather weird alien-looking creature masturbating, and he had multiple orgasms all over my mouth.
That was one of our previous callers, a crazy guy that we like to call Pistachio John.
He's our hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of broke out the bubble wrap and went from there.
Well, alchemy is a great subject, isn't it? And you say it takes place all the time. Mike.
Continuous.
Well, you were saying about the switch, like when you were talking about the magnesium in a plant, and I forget what the term you used because I came in late. Was it aura or
Yeah.
Oribus? What I was wondering is what do you think is the switch that actually animates the switch or instigates a switch?
What, the blink?
What is the intelligence that instigates a switch?
What you mean to make the conversion, the alchemical conversion?
Yeah.
The transmutation.
Mm.
The switch is just information. Everything is just information, and all you're doing is changing the information in the DNA portion of the anu, and everything that you see that's sovereign.
Anu, that was the word.
Has an anu around it. A-N-U is the first name of God in the Babylonian text, Sumerian text, and the Vedas.
Okay.
Anu now?
And anu was found separately by Annie Besant and Charles Ledbetter in the book called Occult Chemistry. They founded the Theosophical Society.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so in their book called Occult Chemistry, the anu is referred to as the UPA, ultimate physical atom. It is the building block of everything, and ultimate physical atom, anu, A-N-U. And their explanations are very, showing the anu is great, but there are other explanations about how the spin goes off to create.
Another way of saying anu is new.
New.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
good.
true.
Don't you think it's just a rearrangement of the atoms though that make the change? But it's just basically
No, atoms don't. Atoms. You know what an atom is? Do you have any idea what an atom is?
Nope.
Kind of. Go on.
All right. Okay, we'll destroy that. We'll destroy that idea too. We'll use initially the simplest atom, the hydrogen atom, which is one proton, one electron. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is fact. This is not. The physicists will tell you this is fact. All right. Now, proportionally, if you were the size of the single proton at the center of the hydrogen atom, your electron, the size of a golf ball, is going to be on the moon, 240,000 miles away. Okay? And then if you expand that out a little bit more to where you make the proton the size of our sun, then your electron is going to be the size of Earth, and it's going to be in the next solar system, 3 light years away. Okay? So, so what's in between? Answer, space. Dark energy or dark matter or whatever they want to call it. But as far as we're concerned, it's God. Okay? Because that's the only thing that is keeping that electron and proton in relationship to one another is basically a thought, God's dream.
Yeah. Or just the goo.
The goo, yeah, no, it's a thought. You got to have the image. It's just like you were saying earlier, the intention. You have to have the image. It's just like the hologram. The hologram, the diffusion pattern is very obviously a depiction of the image that's in the gaps because it comes from the gaps. It's transported in the gaps. It's rebuilt in the gaps. Everything has to occur in the gap. Otherwise it doesn't happen.
For people just tuning in, this isn't an advert for the Gap, by the way. This is a completely different Gap. This is the Gap.
Different Gap. Yeah.
This is the gold Gap.
The groove.
Yeah.
Go on, John. Go on, please. Mike, sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, which leads me to the Ciba-Geigy effect. We might as well explain that, because it kind of shows how the image is in the gap, right? Ciba is a giant Swiss fertilizer firm, and they have the grad students come there in summertime and do their crazy experiments, don't they? And so one of the experiments that the grad students ran one summer was this. They took genetically modified wheat and they germinated it in a capacitance field. Now, in the capacitance field that they used, or they set up, was 2 9-inch aluminum plates about 3 inches wide and not quite, a little less than 3 inches apart, connected to a 9-volt battery. And then they put the genetically modified wheat in the soil and watered it, and then 3 days later they came back and after the wheat broke ground and they took the the capacitor away. It's a really simple capacitor. Now you have to understand that the field between the negative and positive plates of an inductor or a capacitor, the field in between is nonpolar, completely nonpolar, unless you have too much bleed through where you got electrons jumping across, but that generally not. Okay, all right. So this capacitance field is basically a gap, and the way that you knew that is because that wheat then grew up, and the wheat that grew up there is what they call diploid wheat, which is the aboriginal form of wheat on this planet, where the grass grows along the ground because it was windy back then, and then after about between 6 and 8 weeks, it pops up, heads out, and it's all done. So that wheat grows a lot faster, almost twice as fast as normal wheat. The DNA of it's very, very strong and fits very good with ours. They tested those plants that grew up out of that capacitance field, and there was not one piece of genetically modified DNA anywhere in the plant. Okay, and so they went on and did the same experiment with ferns, barley, pollywogs, and even trout. And the trout that grew up out of the capacitance field, that was genetically modified when they went in there, okay, the trout that grew up is very similar to salmon, very aggressive and strong because it was a little bit tough. Their life was tough back then, and they had to be quick and strong. And you know, and it is real obvious, you know, I mean, blatantly obvious that the image for these organisms is in the gap, God's mind. You know, real. I mean, there's no escaping it. You know, I mean, it's kind of like, where did that information come from? You know, right? Which leads us back to the alchemical transmutation thing. It's just information. It's all just information.
Right.
Right, wow.
So it's how we use it.
It's how we use it, exactly, yeah.
Well, a lot of it gets organized by God. You know, I mean, it's also not only how we use it, but you know, the way that it gets organized is a pretty dense aspect of it.
What if you don't believe there is a God?
What if you believe you are the God?
What if you are God?
Wait till you die.
Oh, but we never die.
Yeah.
The Hermetics used to say that they used to call it not God but mind, the mind that moves, mind that it's that which itself does not move. You know, so the mind that all mind is encompassed in. You know, that's, you can call it, you know, God's a good word, but like it's a word that's being abused, and you know.
Well, there really is a God. The Ciba-Geigy effect shows that. You know, I mean, you know, who else is putting that information in there? You know, where did that information come from?
Yeah, yeah. Everything's conscious, and
everything you see and everything you don't see is consciousness and has the ability to organize energy.
So
organize.
If we are part of that, then we are God.
Excuse me?
If we are part, we're the consciousness part. Yeah, we're consciously experiencing the other conscious parts of the universal self. So in that respect, we are the gods. We are the God. We are the divine. We are the divine being.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's like David Wilcox says, we are the messianic figure. You know, the second coming will be us.
Yeah, but it's a drop. It's a drop in the ocean, and the ocean within the drop.
Yeah.
It's yeah, divine mind. Yeah, which we all are.
Yeah.
So, Mike, do you know a guy called Sterling Allen?
Sterling Allen, yeah.
Do you know him?
No, sorry, I don't.
Well, tune in to American Freedom Radio tonight, and you'll hear this guy. He's on our good friend Fred Rex's show tonight. And but if you prefer a bit of Jay Widener at the same time on Oracle, you can catch him with another good friend of ours.
Yeah.
Another good friend of ours, Freeman.
Tricky choice.
Yeah.
So yeah.
As we're all in the UK, we'll probably be in bed by then. So we can just...
We don't care because that's podcast all the way for us anyway.
Yeah, we can just download and watch them.
But who are you going to listen to first?
Oh...
Well, it's going to be Freeman because Freighter's shows never come up until about Tuesday anyway, do they?
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, sorry Mike. Yeah, this guy Sterling Allen is from the Free Energy Press, and he's a fascinating guy, really is.
Yeah, he was just recently on Red Ice, and there was a post about 3 or 4 months ago on the Friendship Agenda. Somebody put a video up of him on some other radio show. I think he was talking about the Greek energy device that's ready to roll. Maybe this is all why Greek is going.
Oh, good lord, yeah, possibly.
Shock. Well, there's all kinds of ways of making free energy devices.
What?
Mm-hmm.
The one that I'm most interested in, has anybody ever heard about, I know that can be done where you wrap copper around the crystal and you a long copper wire, and then that stresses the crystal, creates piezoelectric energy, and you get energy from it.
A sucker punch, I believe they call it.
Excuse me?
A sucker punch, they call it, a sucker punch.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. That's made with a Mobius coil, which is copper twisted into a plait and then wrapped round the crystal. See, this is what we were trying to explain to you earlier about orgonite. Orgonite's crystals and copper and metal shavings encased in a resin, like an epoxy resin, and when it's crushed, the pressure on the crystal causes it to generate orgone energy, which was a derivative of Wilhelm Reich's work.
But also that piezoelastic electricity he's talking about also. You know, putting the tension on the crystal creates that coming out of,
Isn't that what the sucker punch has, though?
Yeah.
Basically.
That'd be really. The other one that's interesting is Nathan Stubblefield's work. You know about Nathan Stubblefield?
Subtlefield's, no.
Oh, you don't? Nathan
Stubblefield. Is that the same as torsion fields?
No, Nathan Stubblefield made the fields glow. He made the walls of his house glow.
Yeah.
He made electric motors run forever just off of energy being drawn out the ground.
Yeah.
And Nikola Tesla came to visit Nathan Stubblefield, not the other way around.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. Nathan had some amazing stuff.
We have a friend who makes torsion field generators, which supposedly makes motors run forever, or makes their life longer. You know, running on less fuel, what have you.
Is Jay still there?
Is Jay still with us?
What's that?
Oh, we've got a friend with us who makes these devices also.
Hey Jay, you still around?
He's still around, yeah. And he does that by gluing two rare earth magnets together, poles together, isn't it? Positive to positive.
Yeah.
And he glues it together with epoxy glue and then spins it with a little motor, which causes a torsion field.
Okay.
And the theory behind that is it makes your motors run longer.
Yeah, it's an implosion.
It
implodes into the vacuum, into the gap.
Into the gap, there you go. There you go, mate, yeah.
So one of the, where the upshot of this, all of this is for me, is to create basically ashrams. We call them tuxedo park, things.
Mm-hmm.
And at these ashrams we'll have Monroe hemisync to do astral projection. We'll have physical age regression. We'll be able to make plants grow 5 to 10 times faster than normal. We'll have orgone energy. We'll have past life regression if we think that we need it. All of these technologies.
Let bygones be bygones.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what I say. I say that massively. Yeah, everybody, the Christians talk about forgiveness. I say not forgiveness, forgetness. Forget it. Don't want to know. Don't know.
Yeah.
Who cares? We're going forward. We're not going backward.
Exactly. Forward. So did you just mention Bob Monroe just now?
Robert Monroe, yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in that guy. I read a book years ago called Mega Brain. And he's in Virginia, or he was in Virginia, the Monroe Institute. Have you been there?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, a friend of ours went there. Did you meet Darren when you were at the festival?
Yeah.
You did, you met
Darren, yeah, of course I know Darren. You mean Darren from Scotland?
Yeah. Dan Doody is a very good friend of ours.
Fancy guy, he's okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, he spent, he did courses there at the Monroe Institute.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I know, I was quite impressed by that, because, when I read about it, it was the stainless steel tanks. But apparently they've done away with them now. They're on to much more advanced stuff than that these days. Complete astral projection and telepathy.
Yeah, that's where you're supposed to go.
Well, apparently it's his daughter now that runs it, isn't it?
Well, the Monroe Institute? I don't know. But it's not difficult, and you just take the technology along and you do that. I look at astral projection as being training wheels for gods. You know, you learn how to traverse the universe. You know, and the more you traverse the universe, the more of the universe's loving energy that you pick up.
I'm sure
it's automatic.
I'm sure our host Retta on Thursday will love to get you on to talk about astral projections.
Would you be willing to come back on a Thursday night?
Thursday night? Which Thursday? This coming Thursday?
Any Thursday. She does a show on Thursday night, and she's our astral projection expert.
I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, what you're doing with astral projection is that you're sending your Anu wherever it is that you wish it to go.
Yeah. She made a good point once about visiting the Akashic records, and her Akashic records was a library that she recognised. You know, just like a normal library where you went down and took a book out.
Yeah.
Remember that analogy? So that completely concurs with what you've just said. There's places you go to that you know where you can go to.
You do in your dreams. Sometimes you visit dreams that places you don't even know.
Well, I disagree with that. I visit many places that I've never been before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
all right.
Places you don't actually know in reality, but you can go back and have dreams years later and think, yeah, I've been here, but you've never been in reality. You've been there in a dream before, you know.
Well, you know, we have access to all that information, okay? Especially in the dream state, you know, in the gap state, right? And I don't know who said it a little bit ago, but you want to forget it, you know? Because, you know, the reason that we humans are here is basically to become entertainment for the whole rest of the universe. And the reason that we're so entertaining is that even though we may know, you know, that everything is predetermined by God, we don't buy into it. We keep, you know, we have this willfulness, you know, and we make these intentions, and we do all this shit, you know, which has zero effect over what's going to happen then physically, you know, because what is going to happen physically, you know, if you get into like the Bell's theorem, you know, and the flight of an electron, you know, and finding out that, you know, everything's predetermined down to the flight of an electron, it's kind of like, ooh, whoa, this is too heavy duty, you know, and it kind of like takes away from what we consider to be free will, you know, that we decide to do something, then we get to do it, don't we, right? Well, not quite right, but, you know.
Maybe we just convince ourselves.
I think I agree with that. Doesn't photon have a choice when it's, you know, depending on the experiment, whether it's going for a slit or whether, doesn't it have a choice whether it's going to act as a particle or a wave? And so therefore, he has to make a free will decision.
He mentioned this earlier. It's got consciousness.
Sorry.
Well, it has consciousness. Yeah. Do you want to just run that over for Vic?
What's that?
You want to just run? Remember we were talking about the
about light being no.
The double slit experiment.
Bell's theorem being waves and particles.
Yeah, the double slit experiment. Yeah, you know, it knows to convert, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it actually does.
Concluding that it must have consciousness.
It's the only way that it could do that. Not, you know, I mean, it has to change its shape. You know, it has to change its whole beingness. It's a collapse of the wave function. It's you know, the physicists don't. I ask them these questions. They hate it. You know. Do you understand what I mean by the collapse of the wave function?
Yeah. In fact, what my question was, if it has, you know, it can collapse the wave function depending on the experiment, then it doesn't have a choice. Doesn't the intelligence that decides, right, we're not going to be a wave now, we're going to be a particle, have a choice? So then it's using some kind of will, depending on, you know, it's like you come up to a door, you got a choice to go through it. It's you know, that's will. That is will. You know.
No, everything in 2D just complies with God's will, basically. You know, we don't.
But maybe it is. Maybe it does. But it's a lower form of divine will, because God, you know, it's like Mark Passer would say. There's the big will and the little will, if you like. you know, the eye and the bigger eye. So, you know, whether a particle is, I don't know, it's, you know, whether a particle is acting under divine, you know, instigation, or it has a choice on a lower, like we as humans have a choice on the lower to choose good or evil, to choose one action or another. Have you got a take on that? I'm like just going off.
Yeah, well, you'd have to read my essay called Time Continuum. It's about, you know, it's about the Bell's theorem, you know, and
Bell's theorems, you know, are really interesting.
Well, what about Bruce Lipton's work? Are you familiar with him?
Bruce Lipton?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. You know, I know
he
who he
said
is.
similar things to what you've just said. It's very interesting about the organisms were on a petri dish and they put them with stuff that they were going to, if they lived on it.
He put genes from I can't remember what it was now, but genes from something which should have died within the particular petri dish
environment
they were in. But instead of dying, they just learnt a way to deal with it.
They changed what they had to do so they could live on the stuff that would normally kill them.
So it was the environment. They just adapted to their environment. So genes are affected by environment rather than dictating what you're going to be like in all environments.
Well, okay, yeah, but you know that's a biological environment. Our actual physical environment.
Yeah, it's still all chemical, Mike.
Yeah, right. The environment that we're in on a day-to-day basis, on an hour-to-hour basis, is a 2D environment. You know, and Bell's theorem proves that. The time continuum, once you get in 2D, doesn't exist. You know, past, present, future, all right now. You know, and so therefore, the things that pop into view here and that do things that in such a way that it appears that they're using their will, really is just part of what is required of them to do via God's image of what she wants to see here. And, you know, her image is in the gap. Whatever's there is going to appear here. It's like the Hindus say, there's only one doer, and that doer is God. You know, and God, in that case, being Brahma, you know, you know, all that is, that holds the images in the gap. And the Ciba-Geigy effect proves that. You know, and there's a whole lot of other proofs around the effects of capacitance, that and the Bell's theorem, and the sound traveling faster than light. You know, they had a high school kid, his teacher, and a college grad student made sound go faster than light by splitting the sound in plastic tubes and and combining the sound back in with it in such a way that it created a scalar. They didn't know that they did that, but that's what happened. I don't know, maybe they did. They didn't mention it, you know. Yeah, but it created a scalar, and so then they had detectors along the way, you know, very advanced detectors, and they could put message in the sound, you know, just like we're putting the message in this sound, and the message that they put in the sound would get to the receptor before it was sent. Okay, this is the same thing what happens in the Bell's theorem, you know, and it also goes back to the Ciba-Geigy effect and all of that. It's all predetermined, guys. Right now, it's predetermined. It's shifting into dream time, what like the Aborigines call dream time.
Yeah.
And then we actually will have complete free will. But right now, there is a flea doesn't fart without God willing it. Believe me.
Right. Well, we're almost coming up on the sort of 2 hours there, Mike. But we do have a podcast, so we keep going. Are you willing to stay along a bit longer?
That's fine by me.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Excellent show. Anything else on your mind?
I don't know. You toggle my mind, and I'm sure a bunch of shit will tumble out.
Yeah, because we're just going to take another little short break, if you don't mind, yeah?
Alrighty.
So what should we have? No. Not on the audio.
Well, let's just hear
what?
hear Pistachio John for a minute.
I knew that he was following me around, going to diners, giving me high cholesterol, so I would die an early death.
Right, so this one's DJ at Tainted Dream.
Why are you here? Do you want pistachios or something? Because I don't have any.
Sorry, John, we're right out of pistachios today.
I knew that he was following me around, going to diners, giving me high cholesterol, so I would die an early death.
John Pistachio, what a superstar.
Legend.
Legend. So yeah, we have got a couple of minutes still going on the live stream.
So for everybody on the live stream, thank you for joining us. And yeah, later on you've got the choice of Freighter,
Fantastic Freighter.
with Sterling Allen talking about free energies, and
Fantastic Freeman.
and Fantastic Freeman with the fantastic Jay Widener.
Yeah.
At live from Conspiracy Con.
Yeah.
In LA, I think it is, maybe.
Oh, if you're doing it live from there.
Yeah.
Ah, right, because wasn't he meant to be having a little thing set up himself there?
I don't know.
Well, it's the latest video that he put up.
Okay.
But,
Well, you know more than me.
Okay, so there we go.
I stand corrected.
I don't really know
I sit
more
corrected,
than
actually. I lounge corrected. So yeah, thank you to Mike Emery for coming on the live bit to stay with us for the podcast.
Okay, guys. Thank you. I enjoyed it. I hope you did.
And if you want to just say any of your websites,
just Mike Emery Enlightenment. You know, the 3 words, Mike Emery Enlightenment. It's a lot of essays, and there's some really nifty meditations on there. You know, especially healing circle and the glow meditation, and also how to fix your back. If anybody's got back problems, go on there. There's a back exercise that fixes virtually anything that has a problem with the back, including spinal bifida.
I think Retta will definitely have you on her show. She suffers with a bad back. Excellent. So tune in Monday for Ben Stewart and Rob of the Family Page, 9 p.m. GMT. We'll post it on the Friendship Agenda and the Type 1 Lounge on Facebook.
Ben Stewart is the filmmaker, time,
and
the Esoteric Agenda.
And Ungripped. So catch us Monday. Thank you for joining us. Oh, we are now in record mode.
Yep. We're in the podcast.
Yeah.
Mom! Pot roast!
That's the new smoke weed button, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pot roast!
Who put those up with that? Reset.
I think Reset,
Thank
yeah.
you, Reset. That was some time worthwhile.
Yeah. Did that keep you sane at the Hotel Carolyn?
Welcome to the Hotel Carolyn.
Is Reset still here?
Yeah.
And we've joined by...
I told you I quit that shit!
Yeah, Reset's still here, I believe.
He's still in trauma mode though, isn't he? He's finding it difficult to join in. Come on, Reset, share what's been going on at the motel.
Yeah.
He's probably going to fix her letterbox again.
Liquor.
Oh, litter box.
Yeah, for the cat.
Oh, I thought you said litter box.
No, I'm sure it said litter box.
Oh,
Cat
he
litter.
probably did. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
They would call it a post box over there, wouldn't they? They don't call it a letter box.
Mailbox.
Mm.
Anywho, so,
Anywho.
Mike.
Yeah.
So any thoughts on Judy Wood's work?
I don't know her. I'm sorry. I work a lot, guys. And, you know, I don't have time to chase folks up.
well,
Okay.
well,
Maybe chase her up.
she's worth looking at, for sure.
She's her work is showing evidence of some kind of new technology which is being used in weaponry, namely some kind of free energy technology.
Oh, there's all kinds of that, you know. I mean, but what's more than likely going to happen here in the next couple of months is that all of the dark dudes that have been running this planet, who are alien beings that have supernatural powers, and they have been treating us as a slave species, just like Michael Tellinger reports in his book called Slave Species, as a result of the Anunnaki making us. Okay, you know, the humans did not evolve on this planet. You know, we don't make vitamin C in our body, and all other mammals on this planet do. You know, it's got, vitamin C is very important. It prevents free radical damage, doesn't it? You know, and until you run out of telomeres and you die. But you know, and so you stay perfectly healthy until you run out of telomeres and your body starts breaking down. But if we were to make vitamin C in our body, we don't do that. So we get to be sick a whole lot longer.
So when are these shifty aliens turning up then? Are
They made us 200,000 years ago, and
I think we're all aware of Tellinger's work with
yeah, right. Okay, well,
so you reckon in the next couple of months they're going to so maybe at the Olympics are they going to do something there? Do you reckon? I'd be getting out of London, mate. Well,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they say they're going to do something at the Olympics, you know, and have, you know, a false flag, and maybe they've got a nuke from the Russian sub Kursk that they say they're going to blow off there. But I don't think the aliens are going to let them. That's number one. Number two, there will be the mass arrests. The arrests are already going on. You know, I mean, there have been thousands of people arrested that are the ruling elite of this planet. And then once those guys are arrested and out of the way, what will happen to the military-industrial complex is it will become a spaceport. You know, probably Area 51 will be, you know, where anybody can go for a ride to another planet. You know?
Really believe that?
It doesn't take very long to get there. You know?
So who exactly has been arrested so far? Have we got any names, or is it?
Well, yeah, there's one guy named Michael Herzog, you know, in Germany, that was, you know, that spilled these beans about all the MTN trading that he'd been doing for Bush and various other people.
So why aren't the Bushes? Why aren't they arrested?
I think the old man has been, or either that he's so sick he can't do anything anymore. I don't know which. The high-profile guys have not been arrested. You know, it's like Benjamin Fulford reports. In Japan, all of the lower-down minions that are the guys that have the ability to shoot guns and kill people have been taken out, and they were either arrested or killed. You know, in the United States, they just confiscated their bodies, and I've got the arrest reports. You know,
so exactly. Once these people have been arrested, yeah. Exactly who is taking charge there? Who's got the vested interest for these people to be
a mafia operation to me.
Yeah. Because I mean, from what Fulford's talking.
Get rid of one mob and bring in another.
Yeah. From what Fulford's saying, like the Yakuza, like people, they're gonna be the ones, giving custodianship over, the situation. And it's like, well, at least we know that they're murderers. You know what I mean? And or quite dodgy.
Yeah.
So, but so who benefits out of this?
We do.
Pardon?
We do. We become free. Yeah. In a way, we're.
How do we become free, though? How do we become free if we've got another, just somebody that just takes their place? Yeah, unless we're going to take their place, nobody's being free in this situation. It's just changing one master to another.
Well, the reason we become free is that when they start arresting guys like Bush and Obama and Geithner and Bernanke and Greenspan and Merkel and Sarkozy and all of those kinds of people, when they start arresting those people, they got to explain why. Okay? All right? And when one of the reasons why is very obvious, is that these people are responsible for suppressing free energy devices, responsible for suppressing physical age regression technology, without doubt, responsible for suppressing Royal Raymond's Rife work, which can be broadcast, so cancer can be canceled on this planet easily. Okay? Rife's technology, his devices killed all cancers in an 8-mile radius because they worked off impulse. They just passed through walls and everything. Which is the same thing Tesla found about impulse energy. Same thing that Meucci found about impulse energy. He's the guy that invented the first telephone, worked by impulse. Okay, and so when all of these technologies are released, we become free. Because we no longer need to be connected to the grid. We no longer, all kinds of things.
So exactly who's doing the arresting? Who's doing the arresting?
Navy SEALs, Delta Force, Army Rangers, but primarily the SEALs, because Obama passed that national defense, whatever it was, that allowed the military to arrest people. Well, that's what they're using. Everybody, all the citizens of the United States thought it allowed the citizens to be arrested. They didn't realize that they had to have that law in order to arrest these dark dudes.
Sorry, to arrest the doctors, did you say?
Dark dudes.
Oh, dark dudes. Yeah. They can arrest them under laws military laws and under human rights violations. Surely they don't need a law that means that they can just arrest their own citizens. Because don't the people supposedly the people who are elected to be in charge of a country have duties to look after their citizens.
Yeah, duty care.
And if they renegade in those duties, then
they're held accountable.
Yeah.
Like in Iceland.
Well, the ancient kings of Britain, they I'm now speaking about this, but the ancient kings of Britain, they were responsible for any bad doings that happened within their domain. And so if something dreadful were to happen, then the king would be held responsible, and he took the rap. Literally, it was his head that went on the chopping block. It wasn't his people or some little understudy that took the rap. It was actually the king that did it. And these were the real leaders of Britain. And now we don't have leaders like that anymore. We have leaders who dominate over the domains. These aren't the true bloodlines. These are the bloodlines who have established themselves.
We have rulers instead of leaders these days.
Yeah, rulers instead of leaders. Yeah, exactly.
That's where the term scapegoating comes from. When the king would say, if there was no person found to be guilty of the crime, the king would have to take the rap for it. So therefore, the king made sure that peace and harmony ensued, sort of thing.
And
it was his head on the line.
And maybe that's why on your passport it says that that the Queen takes responsibility for you whilst you're in that in that country, and that's where the term alien comes from, because it was a lien that the visa, basically your visa, that acts as a lien. So if you do anything wrong in that country, that pays for it.
Yeah.
And you can be held in their incarceration. Make money off you.
But I mean, our current Queen is not abiding by these ancient because for a start she sold us.
Well, the banking system basically put paid to that system of ruling, and it's now in the system we're in now, where it's the crown that just takes and it's
Rothschild.
Yeah, basically. Well, the ruling elites who rule us, supposedly the Queen, are put in place. They're not.
Yeah.
They are by divine right, which these ancient leaders would be, because it would be the ones who would have the responsibility. The magic quality to bring mankind together was quelled.
That's maybe why
that's a Gnostic teaching.
Yeah.
You know, that's the back a bit of the more that the mystics would be. You were initiated into them, sort of thing, because you had the qualities that were necessary to have, qualities to lead.
But it's a wisest that led.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
And they made damn sure that made damn sure there was harmony.
I'm not seeing kind of a troop of wise men or women in the sidelines who are showing themselves as being capable of when supposedly this mass arrests of the bad people happens. I don't see vast troops of good people there to take their places.
And exactly where are they going to be put on trial? Because every court that's in any land it's not only run by them. It's a fictitious entity because it's all just legal. If we get them on common law, get them on the land, out of their ships.
Yes, that's
it. And treat them as free men. Don't take them as their name.
Yeah.
So they step out of the corporate world, and they are just the man, and they're held accountable for the crimes as their man. Or woman,
or entity.
Or entity, yeah. Or reptilian.
Have you heard I don't know if the corporation is the corpse?
Yeah.
It's
I didn't just make that up myself.
John Harris called it the mort man. Because it was just, it was a dead weight, it didn't move until they moved it.
Yeah.
Mortician, mortgage.
Yeah. Death gauge.
Death gauge was the death grip, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, where are they going to... I'm all for these people being held accountable.
But who's going to be doing it? Is it the white caps or what are they called, white hats or white brotherhood?
Who is going to make them accountable? Because obviously it needs to be done. Kissinger does need to be put on trial, but I don't know whether or not the International Criminal Court is very unbiased enough to make the true people that are committing all these crimes accountable. It's I think it's all when they put these African leader dictator people on trial and the Eastern European people on trial, it's like they're show trials, and it seems that the people that they're trying to try, they know a lot, and just like Milosevic, they pumped.
Slobodan Milosevic and Charles Thompson. They're talking about Sierra Leone did. And
Charles Taylor.
Charles Taylor, sorry.
Yeah.
Charles Thompson is the guy from the Pixies. Sorry about that. Black Francis.
Interestingly enough, one of my friends, his mate was had to be his legal thing because believe it or not, Charles Taylor was claiming legal aid.
Well, you can only claim legal aid if your livelihood's in jeopardy, and sort of losing your job as a president's quite a bit of a livelihood jeopardiser, isn't it?
Yeah. So he had to defend him.
Good Lord, what, in The Hague?
Yeah.
What happened to him?
He got found guilty, didn't he? So he's now coming over here to live, and we're going to pay $100,000 a year to keep him.
It's like Pinochet, isn't it?
Yeah.
How we helped him out when
Where are
he
we keeping him in prison?
Rather.
Yeah. Probably.
Ford or something like that.
Yeah, Ford.
Ford is an open prison.
So he'll be selling his uncut diamonds in Littlehampton and Bogdan Regis. Sorry, guys.
Your rough cut. Forget your rough cut. Yeah, your blood diamonds.
Wonderful seeing Naomi driving up from Chichester. Mind you, the Stones live in Chichester, don't they? Bill Wyman and Keith. Bill Wyman and Keith Richards both.
Mick Jagger lives down in France, my mate. He lives down near Tours, near Blois. In
France?
Yeah, in Blois.
Well, doesn't live here?
No. Well, he's probably got a place here, but he's got a big fuck-off mansion.
Because Keith and Bill Wyman live in Chichester.
They've got places.
They've got massive places, yeah. But they go down the pub and all that, apparently. And
well, they're just dudes, aren't they?
I've got a funny story, actually. There was a guy who was telling me the other day there that he saw Bill Wyman about 2 weeks ago in a pub with this really young girl, and he sort of he made a sneering comment to him about, being an old man with a young girl, and he went, "That's my daughter." I went, "Sure it is, Bill." I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I just can't believe, looking back, that he was supposedly going out with Mandy Smith when she was 14 or something.
I know.
And that was just in the papers. So why was he not put on the sex register?
Because apparently he didn't have sex with her until she was old enough. But they were going out together.
So he was grooming her.
That's why he didn't get put on the sex register. We all know what was going on. But...
And how was she getting into these clubs when she was 14?
Because she was with Bill Wyman.
Does that matter?
She was with a responsible adult.
Oh, right, yeah. And she was only on lemonade.
Yeah.
Sarsaparilla.
Yeah. That had Rohypnol, not Rohypnol. What's the drug? Is that the
Yeah,
it has Rohypnol in it.
Probably.
I'm sure.
Yeah, something was like.
I suppose if you're a Rolling Stone, you can get access to pretty much what you want.
Have you seen her in the years past? When he married her, didn't he? When she was 16 or something. He had to, because of everything that had gone on before. The fact that he was going out with this girl when she was 14. And he was like Jerry Lee Lewis.
And he was like 50 odd then, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was the oldest Stone.
He was anorexic.
No, I thought Charlie Watts was the oldest.
No, Bill Wyman.
Oh.
I thought
we have a Stones expert with us right now. Who's the oldest Stone?
Who's the oldest Charlie?
Yeah,
Bill Wyman, no.
No, Charlie's...
No, I think Charlie's older than Bill.
I think Charlie's a load older than all of them.
But Bill Wyman's a lot older than Keith and Mick.
Yeah.
He was, like you were saying, he was in his 50s when he was...
Alexis Cornerstones and that, you can think he's not...
Really? Right, okay, yeah. I met Charlie Watts,
Not that old,
nice
but
guy.
older than the others,
Yeah.
Older, they were in their teens, I think, or early 20s, maybe, late 20s.
I met Charlie Watts. He was taking his own gear into the place he was playing with his big band, the Charlie Watts big band, the swing band he had. Well, probably still has. and he was bringing his own drums out of his car. How's that? Not many Rolling Stones do that.
Still do it for the love of it, don't they? They never stop.
Well, I bet Phil Collins doesn't do that.
I can guarantee Phil Collins doesn't even wipe his own arse.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't know how to.
So his
Sorry,
house,
Phil, I'm only joking.
his house in Beverly Hills once, it was just like, it was as long as this bloody street.
You were there?
Whose?
Phil Collins' house.
Phil
It was like this huge wall, you know.
You were there where you...
Yeah. We going round with a tour around.
Alright.
There's all these little...
In the Beverly Hills thing,
yeah, but Phil Collins had a whole... It's huge, and it was all security, complete, just like a prison.
Was it as big as Buckingham Palace? And...
Well, not that big, but like, yeah.
Right.
Also, different design. All you can see is the wall.
But you know,
It's
well,
like a
that's
prison
it. It's like
wall.
Buckingham Palace. You've got
You
it
couldn't see
at
through it.
the
There was
front
no-
and the iron gate.
Well, that's what it is.
and
It's a
everything,
prison,
but
isn't
then
it?
all
Yeah.
the
It's
rest-
not a place you live. It's somewhere where you hide.
In your gilded cage.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well done.
Phil, you deserve it.
Yeah, you deserve to be in prison.
Yeah, she's definitely free range, isn't she? The Queen.
Yeah, the Queen. Yeah.
She's allowed out
She would-
for good
yeah.
behaviour.
Yeah. She could never mingle freely amongst us, could she?
No. I wish she would, though.
Yeah.
You know, just come down for
Actually,
beer.
yeah, because you know we actually
Come to the radio lounge.
Yeah. Come on, lads.
Yeah. We'd love you on the lounge.
Come and say David acts I can't. What are you talking about?
Yeah, the Juba Lounge.
Next week's guest,
Yeah.
the Queen.
So 60 years, Liz, eh? Long time, huh? You're not getting pissed off with it? All us plebs out
There
here.
you go.
All
Come
us
on.
plebs out here, bloody looking at you all the time.
What's wrong with
Oh,
good pension?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she worked a long time.
What do you think about the Jubilee, Mike? Do you live here?
Yeah, it's a woman.
He's not around now, is he?
Let's go.
He's muted his mic, please.
Mike, you still with us? You're going to be joining in the Jubilee celebration.
No.
No.
What about you, Reset? Are you going to join in the Jubilee? So you got
Yeah, I plan on being there.
Are you going to have a garden or a street party?
Garden party.
Garden party.
No, that's the Queen has garden parties. Us plebs just have street
Oh, I'm
parties.
gonna have one too. Right next door.
Yeah.
Blue Green?
But he's not listening. He's not talking. He's
All
just listening.
Is Mate Rex talking?
No, Matrix is also just listening.
Oh, mate.
Come on, mate.
Leave her alone. She's
Come on. Oh, she's baking dinner for
Oh,
you.
okay.
She's got 500.
You know, there was kind of one thing I was going to ask Mike. I don't know. I think you guys were kind of talking about it when I came in about, you know, the bad people, you know, aliens or whatever, and they're going to be locked up or whatever. There's an aspect of that I was kind of, we were talking about frequency and, you know, vibration and stuff earlier. I guess I was kind of wondering if it was more like the actual people, themselves are the aliens and they came here from somewhere else, or are they human people that have like an other dimension type being that's possessed them? Because I remember hearing this thing about like these beings locking themselves into the base of your spine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard about stuff like that. Yeah, and that there are beings like in other dimensions that can't enter this dimension.
The tingler, yeah. And they'll
Yeah.
keep you at a low vibe.
But I was kind of...
They're egoic beings, they're egoic structures. You know, they're part of that fabric that Mike was talking about, makes up the gap, and they're part of us. But it's, you know, we have to learn to work with them and to control them. You know?
So it is like the Goa'uld in Stargate. We've got those little symbiotes inside us.
Never seen Stargate.
No.
I don't know that one.
Never in my life.
You should do. It's wicked.
I know, there's just too many good TV shows for me to be bothered to even look at. And I just, I've watched Doctor Who and that kind of thing, and there's too much other stuff to do. I know they're interesting and everything, but you know, you can get too caught up in all that.
James Bond today, Moonraker.
Yeah, but you watch James Bond about each film you've watched maybe 10 times each, haven't you?
Yeah, well,
It's a good film.
I'm not rid of my TV.
You should be watching Stargate. Get some new
No,
crap into
because
you.
it's all there. It's all there. And actually, I got Ally McBeal the other day.
Oh, yeah.
I remember quite like that back in the 90s. But didn't really. It was just like, I probably fancied her. But like, I thought I'll get that and have a look. And it's weird in the light of all the law stuff we're learning and stuff. How it's a game and that thing. It's about attorneys.
Yeah,
It's really, it's quite interesting.
I never watched that.
Ally McBeal?
Yeah, we never watched that. We never.
Never.
Finished it,
We watched it once and it was like, she's horrible.
Well, we just had we just had one too many six-stringed heads.
Yeah.
Have you seen the episode of Futurama when the aliens sort of invade the Earth because they want to see the end episode of what's clearly meant to be Ally McBeal now? She's called something like Sexy Lawyer Girl or something like that.
Yeah.
But Reset, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Because what you were saying reminds me of a book I'm reading at the moment. Have you heard of Colin Wilson? He wrote The Outsider back in the 60s.
Yeah. Colin Wilson's amazing.
He's epic. He's really, really good. I strongly recommend a book called The Mind Parasites. It's kind of written in the sort of style of H.P. Lovecraft. What it is, it's like this guy and he's sort of investigating the archaeology, and they send down some robot molds and you find like big blocks of stone 2 miles down with writing on them. But at the same time as that's happening, the suicide rate's increasing. And it's kind of like basically what you're saying, that there's a bit where there's a guy experimenting with mescaline and he says he's doing some introspection, but as he's looking inside himself, he gets a glimpse of something scurrying away, like a sort of thing that's not him, but it's living inside his mind.
Okay.
And so I just find it to be current, because I think even people, square people laugh at the concept of the Queen being a lizard. I'm like, you're thinking too much about how does a 7-foot lizard get inside a 5-foot person. You're thinking more like mind parasite, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really, I think we can all relate to lizard-like people, you know what I mean? And it was recently, not that I put too much credence in the daily papers, but there was one of these kind of like, sort of tidbit pieces where like the woman who designs the Queen's dresses was going on about how she doesn't sweat. Yeah, she's amazing. She can sort of go through the whole coronation with fur coats on and all that, and one doesn't sweat, my dear.
That's proof enough for me.
I know. That slitty eyes.
They perspire. Maybe that's
But I guess.
do you think maybe she was just trying to pay a compliment?
Or she was trying to keep her job.
No, she's literally talking about how she doesn't sweat. She says she's basically a cool person, and the Queen has said to her, she was like, oh, you don't sweat much for a fat lass or something. The Queen said, yeah, one doesn't sweat, my dear,
Wow.
Well, I guess one thing I was going to mention there was, with that idea, I guess, is, you go in and you arrest the people and put them in prison and deal with them. Okay, how does that stop if there's these other entities coming in from somewhere?
Somewhere else or something.
Seems like a bigger issue to get at,
Yeah,
I agree. But you know what's interesting? Did anybody hear Cliff High on Red Ice Radio?
Yeah.
Because I would love to believe it. I would love to believe that the NDAA was a sort of trap to kind of catch the bad guys and stuff. I just don't know. But like, I thought that Cliff High's kind of logic seemed good, because he was saying, look, I'm a martial artist. I've heard bugger all about this, all that sort of thing. But what's really interesting about it is, at the same time as the press are saying that, Russia's a sort of starting to kind of manoeuvre and new missiles, blah, blah. What's this thing about 200,000 Spetsnaz going to be pretending to take over the Denver airport and the CIA? What's that all about? How come the CIA are agreeing to run a quote-unquote exercise where they get surrounded by Russian special forces? That's got to be dodgy, like in some form or fashion. That's weird.
Denver Airport's pretty dodgy, isn't it?
Denver, well dodgy, yeah.
But 200,000 Spetsnaz getting allowed to come in and surround the CIA.
Yeah, Swami was going on about this a couple of weeks ago.
What's all that about? That's definitely, I'm not, it would be really interesting if we could find out what that was actually about,
Yeah, and Russian forces, like
Well,
you
it's
say.
about foreign troops being on foreign soil so they can shoot people.
This is the
Not
World
their own
Army,
people.
isn't it? This is preparations for the World Army we're seeing, perhaps. I don't know.
Well,
could be.
I'm hoping for the mind parasites and the weirdness, personally.
all day.
Saucer guy.
That Doctor Who episode as well, where, what's her name? Who's that?
Sarah Jane?
No, it was the comedian woman who...
Oh, right, yeah.
Sharon Tate.
Sharon Tate.
Caroline.
Yeah. No, not Sharon Tate.
Yeah, Roman Zelensky.
Catherine Tate.
Catherine Tate.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Tangential Radio Lounge.
Well, in one episode, Catherine Tate is going through these strange things where she's kind of living in different universes or something. There's different
dimensions.
She doesn't know that she's involved with the Doctor, and then she's in a mental asylum or something, and she's not, like having blackouts and can't hold her relationship together. Maybe I'm getting episodes mixed up.
I know how she feels.
But the
I can relate.
well, it may be because you've got a parasite on the back of your neck.
Oh, yeah.
So that might be what it is. Because remember, she had a big fucking beetle thing stuck to her.
Somebody told me the other day that my hairline was receding. I'm a bit shocked. I need to start checking that out.
Yeah, you might have a big cockroach on your back.
Well, eating up the hair.
Well, that's like that really old Doctor Who on the Spiders of Mars or whatever. They did that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Leapt onto their backs and all that.
And also Naked Lunch.
Yeah, exactly. That's really good, yeah.
Remember Tingler, that's up the spine.
Yeah, Tingler and Fiend Without a Face, remember that one? Vincent Price one, where the thing grabbed onto your spinal column and sucked your brains out.
Yeah, that's all.
It's all true.
Yeah.
Those were documentaries.
Sorry, what was that?
Those were documentaries. Those weren't films.
It's all predictive programming. It's all kind of, you know. Get ready for this. This is going to have you one day.
So I'm really looking forward to the Jay Widener thing tonight, because, well, I was kind of joking with it, and I am joking about it, but in a way, giving $20 to Freeman so he could go and live in a bus was the worst money I ever spent, because you've not heard anything from him since. I went, bye. No, but what I really mean though is, like, I'm really looking forward to, because I think Jay Widener's good, right? Yeah. And Freeman's great. And the thing one of the things that's great about Freeman is he starts where most people leave off. Do you know what I mean? He's ready. I've sat there, in my bed at night, sort of listening to Freeman postulate the possibility of Michael Jackson having gone back in time and become a pharaoh. Go on, come on, more of this. You know what I mean? It's just interesting radio, isn't it?
Story, isn't it?
It's interesting radio, and it's not as far fetched as some of the shit we read in the papers.
No.
But I'm really looking forward to Freeman, doing a Freeman and starting where everybody leaves off with Jay Widener, because I really like Jay Widener, but I always feel that the same ground is covered.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you've made the thing about Kubrick. It's people that are, it's people that don't really listen or look for Jay Widener, and they're going, okay, you did a thing about Kubrick, he'll tell us about Kubrick, and, he uses symbols, all right, okay. Because he did that thing, do you know that thing? He's right into alchemy. And he spoke about and sort of published a link on his website to a thing called the Book of Aquarius. Right. Do you know about this?
No, I don't know about.
It's basic. I don't want to. This has been recorded, so hopefully the show will be out before this comes out. But basically, he reads through quite a lot of alchemical texts, and if you read through them in a certain way, they're basically saying, and collect the stuff and all that, and boil it. And he's basically talking about boiling urine for an extended period of time and crystallizing it, and then doing stuff with this.
That's how he solve that, isn't it?
Yeah. So he's got somewhere in his property. He's got a giant bucket of piss boiling over. I want someone to ask him.
Boiling it.
Yeah.
I did hear someone say once that Jay Widener was taking piss.
It's got phosphorus, isn't it? From just boiling up piss. What you use for matches, explosives and stuff.
Yeah.
That's now chemical.
And it used to be like, I think a while back, I watched some program. It was with Terry Jones or something like that from Monty Python, and it was something about the medieval period.
Yeah.
They were saying that basically when like back in ye olden days, you had to leave buckets of piss outside the door because they were the property of the crown.
Yeah.
And someone would come round in the morning and take the piss. Yeah, that's exactly right. And so they could have like royal robes and all that.
Dye.
Dye. It's used for fixing dye in clothes.
Yeah, that was wasn't that in the Romans? Wasn't that what the Romans used? I think that was in one of his Roman things he did. Hello.
I know it was ye olde days. I'm not sure, but the Romans not the same period of time.
Yeah.
I went to school in Maryhill. You got to remember.
Just
Romans, medieval, same thing.
Yeah, maybe it was one of his medieval things. I've got a feeling though it was the Romans they were talking about, that they used to leave their piss outside. I've got an image of him in a toga, leaving piss outside and talking about it in a way that only Terry Jones can.
I check that it's so wrong to have that image.
Well, it could be worse, I'm sure.
So what was Stella? You're not going to listen to Stella and Alan then? Have you had him before? He's been on Red House a couple of times, hasn't he?
Which one is he?
Stella and Alan, he's the free energy dude. He works for the Free Energy Press.
What guy that's with Freeman?
It's with Freighter.
Oh, Freighter, yeah.
All right, okay.
He's good. He's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, it would be. It's always good to listen to.
Yeah, man.
Both of them, really.
Sure.
Yeah. So you download them onto a thing and listen to them on an iPod or something?
No, I just listened to the first hour, and I don't have enough money. I've not subscribed or anything. I just
not Red Eyes to Freeman and Freighter.
Oh right, okay. No, well, listen to Freighter. You can just listen to the archives on Freighter, can't you?
Yeah.
But, so Freeman, what time is Freeman then? Is it about
Same time as Freighter.
It's about 2 o'clock our time.
2 o'clock. Yeah, I'll probably crap. I don't know. I'll give it a bash. But I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Did anyone hear Sean Young?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She was great.
Mm-hmm.
She swore with conviction.
Yeah.
Well, Americans can't do the F word very well, I don't think.
But you felt like she carried it off.
I think she did. I went and looked for her site on YouTube, and her site is called Mary Sean Young Pariah.
Yeah. Well, I looked at her website, and I just found it really disturbing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's a bit kind of.
It's all about me. Here's a picture of me, and here's me in my swimsuit, and here's me with somebody famous, and
but that's it.
My kids, and
yeah, it's a sort of catch-all kind of CV film stroke recipe thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I did find it interesting when she was on there, but I did think afterwards, hold on a minute, have I just been sold something?
I don't know. I thought she sounded good anyway,
Yeah. Yeah, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt.
So what's up in Brighton these days? Did you have a festival the other day?
The sun has been...
We've had the sun here also, yeah. I went down, there was a protest outside the BBC, so I went down
about
to...
sun?
No, it was about...
Get rid of us!
It's about the BBC's bias and not reporting Scottish issues and stuff like that, and they've banned people. They've got an anti-Scottish independence blog, but they've disabled the comments on it, so people can't. So it looks, it just looks like a sort of. Do you know what I mean? So there's a blog there, but it looks like it's a sort of, hey, anyone can do it. If you try and comment on it, you're not allowed. So there was a load of independent people down there just standing there interviewing each other. It was good. It was interesting. I ended up, I met a couple of people that I knew.
Oh, right.
I'm not sure if I totally agree with independence, but I totally agree that the BBC are no good.
Oh, no, yeah, a bunch of scoundrels, mate.
Yeah.
There's nothing about Fukushima. There's nothing about the amount of cesium in the air.
Yeah.
There's nothing about how...
I thought you meant that they were complaining because there wasn't enough Scottish stuff on there.
Well, that's what they were complaining about, but I was down there because I was agreeing with them that the BBC are completely full of shit. I wasn't down there to sort of...
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm a tinfoil hatter,
Yeah. That's still Queen Margaret Drive then?
No, they're on just the south side of the river. It's a huge big glass box with a radar dish, a big sort of uplink dish on the top. It's called Custom House Key. It's Yeah, just I'm not exactly sure what other land, but near the SECC.
Yeah.
Just across from it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this thing about Fukushima, I've got a daughter, and she's just about to go on holiday. She's going to fly to Italy, and the idea of her flying through that and the air intakes and planes and stuff, you're just like, all these mystery illnesses that flight crew are coming down with, and they're blaming it on the detergent in the
Really?
in the uniforms.
What kind of mystery illnesses? Like leukemia?
Well, rashes and stuff. Do you know what I mean? But there was I can't remember who it was I was listening to. I think it was Jeff Renz.
Yeah.
So Jeff Renz was talking to someone else, and I think that might have been Jay Widener, although I'm not sure. But he said that. So the guest was saying that his friend had taken some film of him sitting in a plane flying to Alaska with a what do you call it, a radio decay meter, what do you call them, a Geiger counter,
right,
on his lap, and it was, it's right up there, right up like sort of 3,000.
It was right up there.
Right up there 3,000 times. Oh, sorry, yeah. But it was 3,000 times what background should be, Shocking.
It's not comfortable if he's got a Geiger counter right up there.
Yeah. In any way, shape or form.
Absolutely.
Mia actually just said that she suggested to Freight that the Type 1 roadshow should be called the 10-12 Hat Brigade.
Shamelessly, I think we should go for it. I think we should just go for it. A marching band with kazoos as well. What, march backwards, the whole deal. We were conversing on this chat earlier on, like I'm a big fan of the band Devo.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, what band?
Devo,
right,
Russian band from Akron, Ohio.
Whip it shoes.
Well, yeah, but before they got to that stage, they were really good. They were really, really good in the 70s.
Yokohama, I saw Devo in the Glasgow Apollo.
Oh, they were brilliant, But so one of they had quotes like, "Be a flat tire on the highway of life." I think that's a good one.
My day.
I'm afraid to play something.
They co-wrote into the red, out of the red into the black. Hey, my. When they were young.
They done something.
They co-wrote that with them.
Really? Yeah, because he worked with them.
Yeah. He's in the film that they play nuclear waste disposal.
That's right.
And what's this film called? I can't remember. It's a mad, goofy film that Neil Young made in the 70s. Devo were in it.
Yeah, I've seen it. I can't remember what it's called.
Going back to the Geiger counter guy on the aeroplane.
You never had Devo?
Surely they would have.
You're not men,
I don't know. He got on with their Geiger counter. I guess it must be all right. They didn't think it was a.
Well, no. I mean, I've flown with electronic equipment. They don't stop you with just anything. A Geiger counter's just like these days a Geiger counter can just look like a smartphone or something.
Right. So long as it's not a tube of toothpaste.
Yeah, or some expensive aftershave that you
get a Geiger.
Well, for that one.
Can you get a Geiger counter app for your phone?
You could probably get one at Aldi.
Random.
Tenner.
You've got the job locked in.
Give it all there.
Hey, I just heard you guys talking about Devo, and I kind of just wanted to join in.
Well, come on.
Hello, the maker.
Devo the guys.
I was saying, Frater used to play Devo when he first.
But do you know, like on the cover of the album that's orange, and there's a guy playing a guitar that just looks like a stick.
Yeah.
Well, because I used to be in bands and everything, there's a very famous, Steve might know this, there's a famous sort of shop in Glasgow. It's near where the Apollo used to be. It's called McCormick's.
McCormick's, yeah, no.
And I was in there one time buying equipment, and the subject of Devo came up, and he goes, "They guys, man, they came in here one time, and they came in and they bought the most expensive pre-CBS like Telecaster, and they took it out into the street, and they sparked up a chainsaw, and right outside the street in Bass Street, and went, and then gaffer taped it up, and that was where that guitar came from. It was chopped up in Glasgow."
Remember Glasgow Apollo used to have those two cornetto stands each side of the 25-foot stage?
Yeah, well, I remember the stage.
He jumped onto that with playing that guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
They're epic. I love Devo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they sound better now than they...
that shit. It feels great to be
you,
sober.
Grandma.
The showstopper. For some reason, my BTR thing doesn't show us how much time we've got left.
15 minutes.
15 minutes. But it doesn't really matter because it's probably just us and the Skype who are listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it set up with the Skype recorder so we can keep on going as long as it needs to.
Well, it's... no, Jay.
Somebody was trying to look for an emoticon of a tumbleweed the other day. Was that you, Steve?
Yeah. I was trying to do the mooning one and I just couldn't spell it to save my life.
Mooning. Had you been celebrating, you guys?
I don't know, we just got really drunk on Thursday, didn't we?
Yeah?
For some reason, yeah.
Good though. I can't really drink at the moment because of my stomach, you know.
It feels great to be sober.
Yeah?
That's more strong pistachio. So Jay, what did you make of old Mike's theories then?
Well, I want to try to make that disruptor ray. That sounds like it'd be very handy if we get invaded over here.
How's your photon machine going on?
I got it sitting here, but I just need a couple parts and just to power it up to find out. But a scalar wave at 60 cycles is pretty easy to produce.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could miniaturize that and have almost about the size of the StarCraft phaser.
You can make a phaser. Oh, wicked! I want a phaser.
Well, it's about the size of this.
I keep it on stun.
Keep it set to a huge hole in the body.
Well, if it disrupts...
No, I just stun would be good.
If it disrupts carbon, a scalar wave, first of all, as it makes contact, has a tendency to be absorbed by the entire body. I used to run scalar waves at about 200 megahertz, and at that thing, it makes the people where everybody's really joyful, happy, and energetic. I mean, I was experimenting with it. I took a 49 megahertz walkie-talkie and doubled the frequency twice. Then I put it through a coil apparatus that turned it into a scalar wave, and we found that the servers that could put it in his apron while he was at the restaurant, and it would double his tips. Wow. People were so happy that they were even going to loan the server money. I mean, that's how happy they got. I mean,
you got to work on a guitar amplifier or something that utilizes scalar waves.
I've got a pipe dream of making an organite guitar reset.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna put a magnet and a coil underneath each pickup.
But I had fun when I used to work at a restaurant. I bought some pheromones to give to the male and female servers there and see how it actually increased the amount of tips.
Fucking chemical warfare.
Whatever happened to just sitting on a tumble dryer, eh? Whatever happened to that?
Oh, we were just having fun with it, you know.
Oh, I bet. Is that a scalar wave generator in your pocket, or are you just trying to get some more tips?
No, I did this about, well, it would be about year 2000. And, well, I've been disabled since about 2002. So, I haven't been doing much of that on a limited budget. But, I used to work in a Denny's on graveyard shift, and it was a perfect time to test such things. I mean, I know males that used to come there at 2:30, 3 o'clock during bar rush because that way they didn't have to pay to get the women drunk, but they could pick them up over at the local Denny's.
Jay, you're curmudgeon.
Well, I was in the back most of the time cooking the food, so.
Did you use some of the diners as guinea pigs too?
What's that?
Did you use some of the diners as guinea pigs as well?
Well, I experimented on cooking things.
So that's a yes.
Well,
I was only following orders.
You kind of went a little bit beyond flipping people roofies, then, eh?
The pheromones were in there with the paprika and the sage, or how was that?
What I did, I make dishes like stir-fried salmon,
stir-fried pheromone.
Chicken breast over the top of it, and
noodles.
and serve it, and I'd make Yankee pot
Mom! Pot roast!
Are you from Pistachio, Jay? Did you fucking go back in time and become...
Used to come in there and get tired of the same old thing, so I'd make something special. You know, because eating the same thing over and over
The
again.
divorce diner.
It feels great to be sober.
One Christmas, I made monster cookies out of peanut butter cookies with a Reese cup in the center that were about 6 inches in diameter.
What was in them?
Come on, I don't want ramen noodle.
It was basically a peanut butter cookie, Reese cup in the center, and I brought the stuff in from home and made them there at work so they'd be legal to give away free to the customers. But the customers appreciated things like that too, and I felt that's come to our diner.
So did you get them to pay for being drugged?
Well, I didn't drug the food or anything. These were colognes that were put on, that the servers put on themselves, that actually affected how much tips they got. They got almost double the tips off that, along with the.
But what did you put in the peanut butter cookies?
Just peanut butter, flour, sugar, butter.
No pheromone.
Special sauce.
You'll never leave.
I took the Reese cups out, took the paper off them, and pressed them into the cookie. Then after they fully cooled down, that's when I gave the cookies out.
So you're saying that the cookies were just regular cookies?
Yeah, I made them for Christmas. I was giving them out at.
But the people serving the cookies had some kind of pheromones on them.
No, not at that time. The pheromone experiment happened later.
You know what? All perfumes have animal pheromones in them. That's why perfume companies spend absolute fortunes on getting the secretions of things like monkey testicles and things like this, so that they can put them into perfumes, and then they get someone like David Beckham or some other loser to advertise them. and of course people go, oh, I really want to smell like David Beckham, or
I want to smell some monkeys.
But what they do is they're putting these pheromones in them.
Well, the pheromones are very effective. I gave one to one of the tests. The pheromones was worn by a 17-year-old, a friend of mine.
He'll be using enough as his own, won't he?
And she was a server, and she accidentally came close to me, and I wasn't paying attention. And oh boy, that thing struck me, and I go, oh God.
Cold shower time.
Well, you know, if you like, say there's a very young boy and an older person, and the young boy wears a shirt. When I say young, like a teenager, 17, 18, wears a shirt, and then if the older man puts the shirt on, then he will instantly, well, not instantly, but he will become more attractive because he'll have younger pheromones oozing
Oh.
from his being, yeah.
But she actually changed. I seen her. She didn't look the same. It's hard to explain it, but I knew what was happening when it happened. I go, oh my God! It just
That happens to quite a lot of Scottish men, isn't it? And they wake up in the morning.
No, it's a friend's daughter.
She didn't look like that last night.
No, I known her since she was about 8 years old.
Huh?
So it was quite a shock that the pheromones had such an impact.
Say that again, Jay. What, you thought she looked 8 years old?
She changed. I mean, when my nose receptors or whatever picked it up, and she physically looked different. She didn't look like the same girl. I mean, it has quite an effect on the body. You don't even feel like
kind of like that Shallow Hal movie or something, where Jack Black was, some really big girl, but that's not what he was seeing.
Well, let's put it this way: it has an intoxication it produces, much like the girls get prettier at closing time.
That's just beer goggles.
Yeah, it works for guys too,
But it was quite a shock when you experienced it yourself. When you were doing the experiment, but you didn't want to become one of the participants. Basically, you just wanted to watch and sort of laugh as things happen. Where when Cerber would go to the table and you take a look at the expression on the people's faces and stuff like that, it made the night go easier. You work 8-10 hours on a graveyard night. It can get quite boring.
Hello?
Made it lively up a little bit.
Hi, Retta.
A little Retta.
Hey, Retta.
Hey, how's everybody?
Yeah.
Hi, Retta.
Hey, good, thanks.
Good thing I got home late, so I don't have to wait to come off for the game.
The ex-household is going crazy by looks of it. Hey, Retta, did you enjoy the guest tonight?
Yes, I was trying to understand what he was talking about, the dimensionals. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was cooking dinner through it. That's why I couldn't chat so much. But
don't worry, we're going to send them your way soon.
Yeah, because he's all about the astral projections.
Well, yeah, at the end, I didn't get to hear like the last half hour. Is that when he started talking?
There were bits and pieces here and
Yeah,
there.
he was dropping it, and he was kind of
and we were asking him if he'd like to come on your show.
And he also has some remedies for bad backs.
Oh, I'm always game for one of them. It was a 2-week, oh my God, for like 14 days.
Ouch.
I was losing my mind.
You certainly found it for your show